right, good evening, everyone. We will reconvene. There are no announcements from the closed session meeting, so we will be adjourning our special meeting. I would like to adjourn our special meeting at 6 p.m. And now I will call to order the Elk Grove City Council regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, January the 27th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor Singh Allen. Consistent with Executive Orders N-29-20 and N-35-20 issued by the Governor of the State of California, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference only. The meeting location will be the City Council chamber, but it will not be open to the public. This meeting of the Elk Grove City Council will be replayed on Metro Cable Channel 14 on Friday, January 29th at 1 p.m. and Sunday, January 31st at 9 a.m. It is being closed captioned and will be webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. City Council meeting videos are also archived on the city's website at elkgrovecity.org. For members of the participating audience who may have personal electronic devices, please place them on silent mode during the meeting or on mute when you are not speaking. Elk Grove City Council welcomes, appreciates, and encourages participation in the City Council meeting. City Council requests that you limit your presentation to 3 minutes per person so that all present will have time to participate. City Council reserves the right to reasonably limit total time for public comment on any particular noticed agenda item as it may deem necessary. Pursuant to Resolution number 2010-24, no individual speaker concerning public comment may address the City Council for more than 3 minutes. The City Clerk will run a speaker timer, and after the first 2 minutes have passed, a single bell ding will sound to inform you 1 minute remains. When the total 3-minute time concludes, a series of bells will sound. With that, we'll move on in our section 1 for the call to order to the roll call, and I will start that roll call as we do all votes following for the rest of the evening via a verbal roll call vote. And I'll start out for the roll call with Councilmember Spies.
Present.
Councilmember Hume.
Here.
Councilmember Suen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Here.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Here.
And that will move us on to the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, if I can get everyone to please stand, hand over heart. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May be seated. At this time, we will observe a moment of silence. Okay, next item.
That'll move us to section 2, the approval of the agenda.
Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Hume, I move it.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
We will move on to the roll call vote. I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes.
With a 5-0 vote, we have an agenda. That will take us on to section 3, but we have no closed session items that are scheduled on the regular agenda. That'll advance us on to section 4, our presentations and announcements. And that one presentation is 4.1, which is a recognition of service to Scott Matsumoto for his service on the Diversity and Inclusion Commission.
All right, do we have Dr. Bhavin Parekh, who is available to speak?
Yes, Mayor. This is Dr. Bhavin Parekh, Chairman of Diversity Inclusion Committee. So I can continue. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, so we just learned that our great commissioner, Scott, is leaving our commission. So I personally and other commissioners are feeling very saddened to see him leaving. Scott has contributed significantly in promoting cultural diversity of our city and welfare of our citizens. He was a good team player. He was a great chairman and a kind commissioner. As a chair, he has conducted our monthly meetings in a very professional manner. His suggestions and thoughts were very insightful, meaningful, and very lucid. He has served in many subcommittees like arts and crafts, marketing. He has supported volunteer in multicultural festival, Festival of Light, Chinese New Year, and one thing I greatly admire him that he helped to develop a reading list on a diversity to share with our Algoro resident. He was the first commissioner to volunteer for that project. So his contributions are really greatly appreciated, and we all feel kind of sad that he's going to leave us. But we understand his circumstances, and we will miss him dearly. And I would like to say on behalf of our commissioner that thank you so much, Scott, for your ongoing dedication, efforts, and your contribution towards diversity, maintaining and supporting diversity of our great city. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Parekh. And I definitely want to also thank Scott Matsumoto for his service on this very important committee and his longstanding service and years of service. It's just having great residents be a part of our community and giving back to our community. It truly enriches who we are in Elk Grove. Any other council members want to make some comments? Councilmember Hume?
Yeah, I'll just say that, thank you, Mayor. I'll just say that Scott has been an exemplary example of public servant on this committee from its, I think, almost since its formation to now. He's accepted leadership roles. He's been a great emissary for the city, and he's taken the task put before him very seriously and executed his duties with great care. And so I just appreciate his service and wish him well.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Spies?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a lot of opportunity to meet with Scott, but I've seen him before, particularly during leading efforts for Diversity Month, as well as other events. And what I've noticed is that you've definitely gone into it with a lot of drive and excitement and commitment to it. And I want to thank you so much for your service. It's time well spent in the community, and the community certainly appreciates it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Sun?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I want to thank Scott for his service as well. I really appreciate his involvement in carrying forward the mission of diversity and inclusion. And I hope he'll continue to stay involved in the community in other ways. Thank you, Scott.
And Vice Mayor Nguyen?
I echo everything that's been said. I always look forward to your presentation. I know every year when we get a presentation, you're always the driving force to present. And so we're going to miss seeing you there. And good luck to you. Thank you so much for everything you've done for us and the committee as well, too. You'll be missed.
Thank you again, Scott, for your great contributions to our city. And that, of course, creates a vacancy. And I know that there's a number of applicants that have submitted an interest. So big shoes to fill. Thank you again for your service. We will then move on to the next item.
I think we do have Mr. Scott Matsumoto on the phone. I don't know, Scott, if you had any comments that you'd like to present.
Great.
And I'm not sure. I think we might have lost him on the call. So, but we'll see if we can get him back in. I'll drag my heels a little bit as we talk about going into our next section, which is section 5, our public comment. And again, that's when I'm referring to dragging my heels, it's just whether or not we were able to pull Mr. Matsumoto back on. But this is our section 5 of our general public comment. So participating members of the viewing audience may comment on any item not on the agenda that is of interest to the public and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes or less if a large number of requests are received on a particular subject. City Council cannot take action on non-agendized items raised under public comment until the matter has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Members of the public desiring a response to a specific question are encouraged to contact any member of the council or the city manager at any time. Those audience members who wish to address a specific agendized item are encouraged to offer their public comments during consideration of that item. And at this point, I'm going to touch base with our staff team. What we do have is a call-in list of 7 callers for general public comment. There were also 2 written comments that got submitted. There's a little bit of crossover between callers and submittals of written comments, and so they may address those items in their comments as they move forward. And we'll see if we have our first call.
Mr. Matsumoto?
He was not available or answering when I called back.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. And I think we'll move on to our first speaker on general public comment.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Ma'am, you may go ahead.
Hold on. I apologize. I was not completely ready.
Okay, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
I apologize. My thing is not working here.
You're just speaking through the phone, so you can go ahead with your 3 minutes.
Yes, I know that I'm speaking through the phone here. Okay, I apologize.
And you are coming in loud and clear, so please proceed with your comments.
All right, so I'm sorry. According to EG Citizen in 2020, Sting Allen claimed on her personal Facebook page that she was harassed by Steve Lee's associates after she was appointed to Elk Grove School Board in 2012. She mentioned that she believed the alleged action occurred because she endorsed Steve Lee's school board opponent, Jake Rambo, whom Steve defeated in that 2012 election. Then in 2012, Sting Allen alleged that after she was appointed to the school board, that quote, Steve Lee and his Hmong Klansmen came after me. They contacted the district to find out how to contest the appointment and petition to have it overturned, end quote. In reality, as it was reported by Patch.com, the individuals who contested her appointment were 3 other men applying for the same trustee position she had just won. Also, interestingly enough, her good buddy, Jake Rambo, who was a trustee serving on Elk Grove's Charter Commission with Sting Allen's husband, was also quoted as saying, Sting Allen has strong knowledge of the legislative process, but it's better that Sting Allen isn't affiliated with an educational advocacy organization. Now that sounds like Jake Rambo doesn't think Sting Allen was a good idea for the school board either, huh? Anyway, 2 years after Steve Lee allegedly bullied Sting Allen, she publicly chose to support him in his 2014 run for city council. Why? And why was she still very visible at public events, happily mingling with her alleged bully, as soon as seen in numerous pictures all across social media? One of my favorites is the photo of Sting Allen smiling and walking arm in arm with Steve after he won his race for city council in 2014, 2 years after the alleged bullying took place. If Steve Lee was such a misogynistic bully who harassed her and sent his Klansmen to do the same, why didn't Sting Allen just stay away from him? She didn't work for him or with him. She chose to be around Lee. Why didn't Sting Allen crush Lee with her Wonder Woman power by putting him in his place the very minute he bullied her? No, instead, St. Allen waited 8 years to speak up about this, conveniently, at the time when she decided to run against Steve Lee for mayor. So which one is it? St. Allen, did you suddenly repeat the bullying you experienced prior to smiling all over town arm in arm with Steve Lee for almost a decade? Or did you simply choose to slander your opponent in a mayoral race you feared you might otherwise lose? So, Bobby St. Allen, I don't suppose you could answer that question for us tonight, would you? Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes. You may go ahead, caller. You have 3 minutes.
And our staff are contacting callers. For our callers that are coming into the meeting environment, you're put directly via your phone call. So you want to just be able to speak into your phone device. We ask you don't put it on speaker. Otherwise that can cause some reverb. But that for folks that are participating in the meeting, what we're hoping is that when you're pulled into the meeting, just speak into it like you're speaking on a phone conversation. I think our staff are still trying to make connections with folks. I'm not sure too much too. We do have some inclement weather going on. Perhaps some folks' reception, something's going on.
I'm here.
Just a moment, ma'am. Jason, the last caller I wasn't able to get connection with on the phone, so I'm going to go call them back. I'll patch through the next caller, and caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Nicole.
Yep.
So my name is Ferdows Sheikh. So now I want to draw the attention of the people to the Temecula, Los Angeles Mayor James Stewart, who resigned in June 2020 amid a backlash over an email he wrote about police killings that went viral. Now, what did he say? He said no good person of color has been killed by the police. Now, that's a racist blanket statement, rightfully demanding resignation. This begs the question, why is Bobby Allen still in office? What he said is as terrible as Bobby's blanket racial attack. Why is Bobby being sheltered, even though she has continued to remain a blatant racist? What's her stake behind the scenes? Why did Elk Grove Unified School District and City Council fan her racism? I would like to clarify why I'm hung up on Kong Lee and explain the impending harm that stems from racial profiling. Bobby Allen said the Hmong community is labeled as a Klansman to silence women, an undertone alluding violent and patriarchal community. Racial profiling at its worst. Then Kong Lee's hurt statement expressing pain by saying, "I wish you a slow death," is twisted into a murderous, violent threat. His dove hunting paraphernalia is misrepresented as heavy-duty weapons and guns with many boxes of ammunition, enough to make Bobby cry publicly, make a spectacle of herself, and speak of how this threatens the safety of her family. Now, this adds to Bobby's narrative that Hmong people silence women. That's how racial profiling starts. How dare she build a false narrative about an otherwise mild, helping-natured, kind set of people? She should rightfully resign. Let me remind you that this same community has distributed thousands of flyers, 10,000 a day, to help a thankless Jacqueline Moreno's campaign for free. That's oppression. Kong Lee wished you a slow death. That's a curse, Bobby, not a threat. A curse that caused the U.S. flag to fall at your inaugural speech. Pointing at his dove hunting guns as a threat to validate your ugly motive is rather juvenile. Besides that, Bobby Allen, how does a gun kill you slowly? Aren't you confused? I am so sick and tired of this type of racial profiling and Bobby Allen pretending that she is not responsible or accountable. Neither are all her associates who are continuing to be emboldened by the racial attacks and slandering of private citizens. It's time, Bobby, to be responsible. It's time to apologize and end your racism. Whatever happened to zero tolerance of hate and racism in Elk Grove? Is it just lip service? Why so much cover-up? I, a private citizen, blocked, slandered, attacked, and defamed by Bobby Allen and Associates, is seeking answers. When will I get the answer? When will you stop blocking us?
Thank you for calling, ma'am. Your time is up. Thank you for calling. Your time is up. Next caller, please.
Thank you.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
My comment is for Councilmember Kevin Spies tonight. Sorry, Bobby, but you can still listen. Councilman Spies, first, I'd like to congratulate you on your win. I didn't get a chance to do that the last time I called in. Secondly, I don't expect you to remember me, but you and I actually met almost a year ago in March of last year on a rainy day at an API Women's event that took place at CRC. It was an event where a panelist of API Women talked about their experiences working in the community and in politics. I sat up front, and I remember you sitting in the back because towards the end of the event, you raised your hand, you introduced yourself, and you asked the panelists of API Women a question. Do you remember what you asked them? You asked them how you could work on being a better ally to API women and the community. After the event, my husband and I approached you and introduced ourselves to you, and even though you were in a rush to leave because you had another engagement to attend with your wife, you stayed and you talked to us for a short while. I was so excited to meet you, and I told my husband, that's Kevin Spies. That's who we voted for mayor back in 2016. I'm sure you do recall that it was former Mayor Steve Lee who you ran against in 2016. Yes, that's correct. I voted for you. So sorry to burst Bobby's bubble, but I guess I was never quite the stately supporter she racially profiled me to be. Anyways, I specifically told you then that my husband and I would be voting for you again. Unfortunately, by the way things turned out last year, I gotta admit that we ended up going with another candidate, and I'll tell you why. Going back to the question you asked the panelists on that stormy day back in March about how you can be a better ally to API women, well, you had your chance. Where were you when the Hmong community was standing up against the racism from Bobby and her media friends, colleagues, and associates? Regardless, I'm hoping that as a community we can come together and work to move forward despite the racists in our midst. Much like most of the world, our community still has a problem recognizing what anti-Asian racism is and what it looks like. I believe this is one reason why Bobby was able to shirk the consequences of her racism against the home and win her seat as mayor. It's why colonized-minded Asian women like Stephanie Nguyen have the audacity to project her own self-shame onto the Hmong community and essentially demand that our Hmong cultural system be put on trial while gallivanting around town in secrecy with, well, we won't go there, but I'm sure you've all heard the stories. It's why men like Darren Finn can pretend to stand against toxic masculinity while stepping out on his own wife by stalking a woman named Maya during his lunch hour at her place of work, Nordstrom, so the story goes. Councilmember Spies, I'm asking if you will stand with the API community now against the racists in our local government. Will you work with us to ensure that the Diversity and Inclusion Commission is representative of the Elk Grove community? Will you share our stories, or will you shut us out like Bob? I may not have voted for you, but now that you've got your seat, will you use your privilege as a city council member to help the people or to further hurt the people?
Thank you, caller. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Chief Albright, this comment is for you. On Friday, May 29th, a driver plowed through a group of protesters in downtown Bakersfield. The following day, a 31-year-old man was arrested for attempted murder. On Sunday, May 31st, a 28-year-old San Marino man was arrested on suspicion of assault with a vehicle after driving his white pickup truck through a crosswalk crowded with people. On Thursday, June 4th, a 51-year-old Newport Beach man was arrested for driving his vehicle into a crowd of protesters. He was arrested and charged with assault with a deadly weapon. On Saturday, September 27th, a driver in Yorba Linda drove her white car through a crowd of protesters. The 40-year-old Long Beach woman was arrested and charged with attempted murder and assault with a deadly weapon. These are just a few cases here in California, and this does not even include cases across the nation. On September 29th, the very same thing occurred at the Barbara Waxford Community Center. The only difference is that the perpetrator is a person who works in the state of California, licensed by the California State Bar, and given a fancy title as an administrative law judge. Well, it has been over 3 months, and no justice has been brought. The perpetrator is still walking on the streets proudly, like he knew he had gotten away with the crime he should have been held accountable for. Should we have asked for a citizen's arrest that night to ensure that the perpetrator would have been arrested and brought to justice? It appears that the Elko Police Department is incompetent in doing their own investigation and is protecting the perpetrator versus the people. People should be held responsible for their actions, regardless of who they are, what their skin color is, and what title they have. I would have requested to sit down with you and discuss this matter. However, at this time, with the information we have received, it appears that the right hand doesn't even know what the left hand is doing in your department. Policies are being bent and protocols are being violated by officers in your department to protect your very own officers, lieutenants, and sergeants for their errors. I'm unsure at this point if a sit down is even warranted. Should you feel that a sit down to discuss the actions of your officers and the reasoning behind your department's failure to bring justice to the people, feel free to contact me. You have received my emails with my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen and council members and staff. Mark Graham, Elk Grove. Well, all right. I sent all of you an email this afternoon. I hope that you will take a chance to read it. And the subject line was recommendations for changes to the city's cell antenna policy. As I said, in the staff report for the August 2019 council meeting, it said, since the submittal of the project application in early 2018, staff has received written comments from approximately 200 individuals opposing the proposed zoning code amendments and MLA, end quote. Your residents asked the city to keep cell antennas away from our Elk Grove homes. Those of you who were on the council in November 2018 remember the special meeting, which was a community workshop on cell antenna policy. At the tail end of that meeting, Councilmember Steve Detrick said this: I have been researching this online myself over the last week or so. To me, if you're going to err, you err with caution. He said, Randy, you stole my line, the difference between wants and needs. He said, again, if I'm going to err on conservative. You know, sometimes there is a big conflict between the environment and capitalism, and I think this may kind of cross over one of those points that capitalism is trying to overlook the environment situations that it creates. As was mentioned, sometimes you don't know till 5, 10, 20 years what the effects are. I'd sure hate to be the one who made the decision to move forward with this full speed ahead, and then it comes back to haunt us. I want to go with whatever the bare minimum is until we have a better idea on any of this. End quote. Now that was a vision, Councilmember Detrick's vision for a responsible intelligent cell antenna policy and part of a healthy city. It was a beautiful vision. Unfortunately, through the council's neglect and its failure and refusal to listen and really consider the recommendations of its residents, the city has fallen far short of Councilmember Detrick's vision. Where in a new year, and it is time for the council to change its cell antenna policy so as to fulfill or at least get much closer to Councilmember Detrick's vision. The recommendations I sent you today, there were 3 of them that are directly about the placement of new cell antennas near schools, and there were 6 recommendations that were not about cell antennas near schools, but they were about cell antennas. Every one of the things I recommended is something the city has the authority, the power, and the jurisdiction to do. The council has never asked for or received from your city attorney the answer to the question, can the city do this on these specific items? So one of the steps for the council to take is to ask for that advice. Not some general blurb that is irrelevant, but a specific response to each of my 9 specific recommendations. Can the city do this? And
Sir, your time is up, Mr. Graham.
I didn't hear the 1 minute bell. What happened to the 1 minute bell?
It went off a minute ago.
What happened to the 1 minute bell?
It went off a minute ago,
Better job
sir.
there, people. That's not good.
Next caller, please.
And I think we have tried to call, we had 2 other callers, but we have not had success in being able to connect with them. They are either sending us straight to voicemail or the phones are not picking up. So with that, that is actually going to conclude all of our speakers for general public comment.
All right, next item.
That next item will take us to section 6, general administration information.
All right, Mr.
All right,
Mayor.
good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This is Jason Behrman, City Manager. My privilege to provide this report to you this evening. First of all, I wanted to recognize the upcoming departure of our longtime serving Finance Director, Brad Kane. This will be his last City Council meeting, so just wanted to recognize his long tenured service over 9 years to the City of Elk Grove and its residents. Brad's done a great job helping the city overcome early financial challenges related to the recession, put us on a really solid financial footing going forward, and just been a great asset to us, and we're really going to miss him. We just want to recognize his service. Moving into other matters, I want to provide an update on the storm that we had last night and ongoing tonight and expected through Friday. Of course, last night's storm delivered high winds throughout Elk Grove and the Sacramento region. The Public Works Department worked late into the night and really through the morning and all day today. Received nearly 100 calls about storm-related damage and continues to operate with increased staffing levels addressing localized flooding, down trees, and debris in the roadway. As of noon earlier today, Public Works crew had responded to 58 trees and large limbs falling, 9 street light knockdowns, 6 traffic signal issues, 8 signs knocked over, 9 localized flooding areas, and 2 calls for traffic control due to down power lines. Cleanup may take several days due to the number of incidents, and crews are bracing for the next round. The National Weather Service is forecasting approximately 1 to 2 inches of rainfall through Friday morning, with the majority of that rainfall expected this evening and tomorrow. Local creeks are running below monitoring levels, and the city is not expecting issues with this additional precipitation. Residents can report localized street flooding and down trees on our city maintenance hotline, 916-687-3005, and down power lines can be reported to SMUD at 888-456-7683 or by dialing 911. Information about the city's contacts for this city maintenance hotline is on the city's website and will also be posted and has been posted on social media. Public Works Department has secured an agreement with the Sacramento Tree Foundation to plant and maintain up to 325 native and ornamental trees within the Highway 99 at Grant Line Road interchange. The Tree Foundation staff and our volunteers will plant the trees and provide 3 years of maintenance. The service is funded by the Sacramento Tree Foundation's Nature Program at no charge to the city. This is the first of many opportunities we've identified to work with this group, and we anticipate expansion of this partnership in the years to come. The police department is expanding their commitment to community engagement with the launch of Spider Tech, S-P-I-D-R Tech, a text messaging feature that sends messages to callers from the dispatch center. Text messages through this service can confirm that their call for service has been entered, alert them when officers are delayed, provide callers the event and or case number, and share updates on a case's status, if applicable. At the end of each contact, Spider Tech will send out a survey to allow callers to provide feedback about their experience with the Elk Grove PD. This new service launched earlier this week. I want to provide some brief COVID-19 updates on the vaccination front. Sacramento County Public Health continues to create and refine its vaccine rollout action plan. Those eligible under Phase 1A are currently receiving vaccinations. While the demand far exceeds allocations, county officials are hopeful allocations will drastically increase in the near future. Residents who are 65 and older are encouraged to wait to receive more information from their provider and or public health, so that when allocations increase, they are aware of the next steps. Sacramento County Public Health created a web form where residents can sign up to receive information on current and or future vaccination clinics. Residents who are 65 plus and or residents who fall into Phase 1A, Tiers 1 through 3, that want the COVID-19 vaccine should visit the county's public health website. On Monday, Governor Gavin Newsom announced an agreement to extend the residential eviction moratorium in California through June 30th, 2021, protecting tenants and small landlords from losing their housing as the nation continues to confront the pandemic. More information from the state will be forthcoming. We also received word last week the White House issued a memo stating that FEMA reimbursement for cities' COVID-related expenses increased to 100%, up from the previous approval of 75% through September 30th, 2021. And finally, an update on Great Plates. It continues to operate. Currently under the program was extended through February 6th, although we do expect that will continue beyond that. We currently have 507 seniors in the program, with 18 local Elk Grove restaurants participating. To date, Great Plates has invested more than $3.9 million in local Elk Grove residents. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Just a reminder, this full report is available on the city's website.
Excellent report, Mr. Behrman. I love hearing those updates. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Hearing none, we will move on to the next item.
Take us to section 7, council comments, reports, and future agenda items.
Great. I will call on Councilmember Spies.
I get to go first a lot here. Let's see. So not a lot to report. We had the STA governing board meeting on the 14th of January. Not anything necessarily important to report out of there. We mostly did just reorganization of the board and introduction of new board members. So that'll conclude my report.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Hume.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Last Friday had the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority meeting where I was nominated and selected to serve as chair of that board for the next foreseeable terms. That's the Amtrak service that offers service from the South San Joaquin Valley into the East Bay and also up to Sacramento. And importantly, is working on trying to locate a heavy rail passenger station within or near Elk Grove. Had a RT board meeting on Monday, nothing to report out of that. A board subcommittee meeting with respect to the staffing and potential combining of the sanitation district and the sewer area service district. And tomorrow night I have paratransit and I have a connector Joint Powers Authority meeting on Friday. And then with respect to future agenda items, I think maybe I'll hold off on it for now, but if we have to sit through people who cannot separate politics that belong on the campaign trail versus city business, and we have to listen to the same comments every meeting over and over, then I'm going to be looking to move public comment to the end of our agenda so that everyone else who is spending their time to participate in the meeting doesn't have to listen to these same comments that we've heard before. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations on your new role. You will serve our city well. Councilmember Soon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would support Councilmember Hume's final comment there if things continue as they did tonight. We had a Sacramento Area Council of Governments meeting last week. I was selected to be chair of the Transportation Committee within there. Nothing significant to report at this time. And I just want to quickly give another shout out to Brad Keene for serving our city. For folks who, may not realize, the business that he does and the reports that he puts in every year that's in the consent item tonight. June 30th, 2019 was the 18th consecutive year the city of Elk Grove received the Achievement of Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. So I just want to put out there and recognize we've got some really talented staff here. Brad, you've done a fantastic job. I know you weren't there for 18 years, but obviously you kept up you kept the bar up there. So congratulations and best wishes on your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Nguyen.
I have nothing to report. I also agree with Councilmember Hume's suggestion.
Duly noted. For my own report, I too serve on STA, so had that meeting, and Councilmember Spies gave an accurate depiction of that meeting. Also coming up tomorrow is Sac Metro Air and the Library Authority. I also participated for 2 days last week. It's called the New Mayors and City Council Member Training Academy with the League of Cities. So it was a 2-day, half-day session last week, and then we'll continue tomorrow and day after as well. And proud to report that also the Economic Recovery Task Force, the preliminary committee met today, this morning, as well as briefly last week. And as you recall, our other colleague is Councilmember Soon that sits on that. Proud to announce that we have our 2 co-chairs for this task force. Our co-chairs are Angie Perry with our Chamber of Commerce and Angela Spies, a small businesswoman and amazing Rotarian. We have about 90% of our committee identified. We're just getting confirmation on 2 others. We will have a full committee meeting in the coming days and a press release that will go with it. We've identified an outline, our goals, our mission, and we'll be able to share that out at our next council meeting once we kick off and begin the work. But just wanted to report back progress on that. That's all I have. We will move on to the next item.
And that will take us to section 8, the consent calendar items.
All right. At this time, I will open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, I do not have any prior submitted comments nor any callers on our consent calendar items.
Thank you. I will then close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council deliberations and direction.
This is Hume. I'll move consent.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
And for that roll call vote for the motion to approve the consent calendar, Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes.
The consent calendar items will pass 5-0.
All right,
That'll
next
take us
item,
on.
please.
That'll take us on to section 9, our public hearings, starting with item 9.1, which is a public hearing to consider resolution approving modifications to the District 56 Development Plan Design Review and Capital Improvement Program Design Review for the installation of a ground-mounted solar photovoltaic array.
All right, we have a presentation. Excellent.
Looks like staff is pulling that up right now.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Antonio Ablog, Planning Manager and Project Planner for the District 56 photovoltaic array. This project involves the installation and maintenance of a ground-mounted solar voltaic array at the District 56 Community Park and Community Center. For this project, from the Planning Division, they require a design review modification to the District 56 District Development Plan Design Review. When that was approved, it was the Civic Center South project, but we now know it as District 56. They also require a design review modification for the specific District 56 Capital Improvement Program Design Review, which was the design review that covered the Aquatic Center, the nature area, the community center, and the commons. I just wanted to inform you that this is the land use and design component, which is related to the next item you will be hearing, which is the public works item that covers more of the technical and budget and bidding process for the District 56 photovoltaic project. As far as the background and setting, as you know, this is in District 56 at the corner of Civic Center Drive and Bighorn Boulevard. The community center, aquatic center, and commons have already been open and have been operating. The nature area is currently under construction, The District 56 itself is mostly surrounded by residential uses within the Laguna Ridge specific plan area, but Cosumnes Oaks High School is to the south, and we have a city property which is undeveloped to the north. As far as the background for District 56, in 2016, Council approved the District 56 plan. The master plan included design review, including aquatic center, community center, the commons, and the preserve. With that approval contemplated a roof-mounted solar system. As Public Works reviewed those original approvals, they found to better meet the net zero energy goals for the center as far as producing enough solar to offset all the power needs of District 56. They found that a roof-mounted system probably would not meet those efficiency targets. So they provided a schematic design concept for the nature area for District 56 with a ground-mounted solar array that was presented in 2018. And in 2020, Public Works staff completed an analysis of the existing and projected electrical usage to more fully plan out a ground-mounted solar system for District 56. Later that year, in December, Council did create the District 56 photovoltaic improvement project. The first request before you for this project is a request to modify the district development plan. District development plans are larger scale master plans for project sites that will develop in phases over a number of years. This was the plan that I mentioned that was approved in 2016. You'll see the existing plan on the left side of your screen. This does show the layout of the park and community center. The existing plan does not include a provision for the ground-mounted system. So the request before you tonight is to amend that plan as shown on the right of the screen to allow that solar panel array. The specific location of that solar panel array will be to the south of the existing water well and treatment station that's on Civic Center Drive at the east end of the District 56 area. More specifically, since they are requesting to construct the actual solar panels themselves, the solar panels and site around them will need specific design review. Planning has reviewed those designs. I could give you some of the details of that. This project involves the construction and installation of 12 panel structures in an enclosure area of approximately 75,000 square feet. These are kind of low profile panels, not as tall as the ones you may see at like a Wackford Center or Kaiser Permanente. Those ones are taller, about 14 feet tall. These panels will only go to a height of 8 feet tall, just under 8 feet tall. They will feature anti-reflective non-glare glass so that there's no impacts on the surroundings. There will also be an 8-foot fence around these to protect the array and obscure some of the visibility of these panels. Since this will be going into the nature area of District 56, there are a number of landscape features that will screen these panels from view. The landscaping and fencing has been designed not to decrease the solar efficiency of the panels, but to screen them from view. As you can see on the plan before you, that area is surrounded by landscaping, including a number of oak trees and native and climate adapted shrubs. And also there will be a 2-foot berm to further hide those solar panels from view. As far as CEQA, no further environmental review is required. That's pursuant to CEQA Section 15303, which is related to the new construction or conversion of small structures, and CEQA Section 15304 related to minor alterations of land. Tonight, staff is recommending that the council adopt a resolution finding no further environmental review is necessary. pursuant to CEQA sections 15303 and 15304, and approving a design review modification for the District 56 District Development Plan Design Review and the Capital Improvement Program Design Review. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions should you have any.
Thank you, sir, for the presentation. Great information there. I'd like to declare the public hearing open. And we are now opening the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we received no prior written comments, nor do I have anyone signed up to speak on item 9.1. And I've checked my comms, so that concludes the that there's no public comment that was submitted on item 9.1.
All right, thank you, sir. So I will now close the public comment opportunity and now declare the public hearing closed. I will now open it up for council deliberations and direction.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume here. Antonio, just have a quick question. So the fence will be essentially a chain link fence with I think it said black slats in the chain link, 8 feet in height. Is that in addition to the 2-foot berm? Will the fence sit on top of the 2-foot berm, or will the berm be in front of the fence?
That is a excellent question. I believe I know the fence design I saw was 8 feet tall. I know we have Public Works on the line. Maybe they could confirm whether that will be on top of the berm or behind it. I don't recall.
Because in one scenario you have an effective 10-foot high barrier. In the other scenario, you have an effective 8-foot high barrier. I think visually it makes a difference.
Antonio, Kevin Busey, Capital Program Manager. The berm is between on the side of the fence. So the trees are planted on top of the berm, and the fence is only 8 feet high. So it's not
okay. So the fence is at grade then. Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, the fence is at grade, correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council members?
No question, but a motion.
Yes, please.
No question. I said motion it.
All right, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
And for the roll call vote on the resolution of item 9.1, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes.
The resolution of item 9.1 will pass 5-0.
All right, thank you. We will now move on to the next item.
That'll move us to item 9.2, which is a public hearing to consider resolution dispensing with formal bidding procedures of the specified sections of the government code, authorizing the city manager to execute a design build contract with Centrica Business Solution Services for the District 56 Solar Photovoltaic System Improvements Project.
I apologize for that technical difficulty. Bear with me 1 minute.
You're doing fine.
Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Kristen Parsons, and I'm a senior civil engineer for the Capital Improvement Program. I'm here tonight to present the District 56 Solar Photovoltaic System Improvements Project. This project will be located on the northern half of the District 56 property. Sorry about that. I want to change. East of the Aquatic Center here.
And just for me to jump in, I think we might have lost your visual presentation.
Oh. Try again. Thank you.
And it might have just been, you might have hit a button on a share screen or something of that. There we are. And there's the map. You're on project location slide for solar array area.
Thank you, Jason. The project will be located on the northern half of the District 56 property. So it will be east of the Aquatic Center, south of the Sacramento Water Agency owned parcel here, and west of Colombo Circle. The project will result in a 739 kilowatt ground mounted solar photovoltaic array serving the District 56 property with the goal to reach net zero energy use at the site. The system is expected to generate more than 1 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually. On June 27, 2018, City Council directed staff to proceed with the development and solicitation of requests for proposals for power purchase agreements after the Aquatic Center and Community Center were complete. In August 2020, staff began a solar analysis and feasibility study for District 56, which included the newly completed Aquatic Center, Community Center Commons, and the Preserve. This study studied the load and system sizing for optimal capacity and was intended to estimate the project costs. This project would typically be subject to the California Public Contract Code and the city's purchasing code, which generally require competitive bidding and award to the lowest bidder for public works projects. However, Government Code Section 4217.12 allows the city to dispense with formal public works bidding excuse me, for this energy service contract if the City Council finds it is in the best interest of the public agency, and if the determination is made at a regularly scheduled public hearing, public notice of which is given at least 2 weeks in advance. Public notice for this hearing was advertised in the Elk Grove Citizen newspaper on January 8th, 2021, and was mailed to residents adjacent to the improvements in advance of the newspaper advertisement. Completion of this project will provide an anticipated savings of $1.6 million in energy purchase costs over the 25-year life of the project for design, construction, and maintenance. It is staff's opinion that entering into the proposed design-build contract without formal competitive public works bidding is in the best interest of the city based on the following. On September 11th, 2020, in accordance with Government Code 4217.16, which allows public agencies to solicit requests for proposals from qualified persons, the project was solicited to receive proposals from qualified professionals, providing an opportunity for the city to receive multiple competitive proposals and to ensure the city had options that would result in the highest anticipated cost savings over the 25-year lifetime of the solar system. On October 9th, 2020, the city clerk received one responsive proposal. All three financial procurement options provided in the proposal, that would be for the cash purchase option, loan, and power purchasing agreement options. All three are net beneficial to the city, with the cash option being the most net beneficial of the three options. Secondly, the expenditures for staff time and costs to compile bid documents for public bidding of a construction contract would result in additional costs to the project and a later construction completion date, which would result in higher total energy costs until the project is completed. Solar projects are normally designed and installed by the same vendor and are typically handled through design-build contracts. And finally, the lowest responsive proposer, Centrica, is located in Rockland, California, which is about 34 miles from Elk Grove. So there is also some economic benefit to the city by contracting with a consultant that is local to the greater Sacramento area. After review of the proposal, staff determined that Centrica was the lowest responsible proposer with a total proposed cash purchase price of $1.889 million. Contract negotiations between staff and Centrica have resulted in a reduced total contract price of $1,798,955. Staff evaluated similar system sizes for solar capital costs for 10 different California public agencies from between 2014 until 2020 in order to determine if the cost received in Centrica's proposal was competitive in price. Based on that analysis, staff believes the price received from Centrica is competitive and recommends council authorize the city manager to enter into a contract with Centrica for the cash purchase option, as it provides the greatest net benefit to the city. Over the next 25 years, The city is expected to spend nearly $6 million in electrical expenses to operate District 56 without this project. But by installing the solar system, it is anticipated that the city will have a net savings of about $1.6 million after design, construct, and maintain of the system. The break-even point on the payback period would be approximately 17 years for the cash purchase option. The total estimated cost for this project is $2.8 million and is funded through the Laguna Ridge CFD fund. The costs for the operations and maintenance and performance guarantee agreements are in addition to this, and those will be paid out of the District 56 operating budget. The cash purchase option is still preferred, and it provides the greatest cost savings. If approved tonight, the following would be the next steps. Design would begin soon and should be complete this fall. Construction would occur this fall and go into early next year. The project would be completed and begin operating next winter, and there would be a proving period after that, with project acceptance anticipated for the spring of 2022. So, staff recommends the council find that entering into the proposed energy services contract is in the best interest of the city, and that the city council authorize dispensing with formal public works bidding for this contract pursuant to Government Code Section 4217.12. Additionally, staff recommends that council authorize the city manager to execute a design build contract, authorize the city engineer to approve change orders, and authorize an amendment to the fiscal year 2020 to 25 capital improvement program and fiscal year 2020 to 21 budget. Thank you for your time. That concludes my presentation, and at this time, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. I would like to declare the public hearing now open and open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we do have one caller who we have queued in, and staff will pull them into the meeting environment.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening. Staff, Mark Graham again. I'll tell you, I have not spent a lot of time reviewing this, but look at solar panels. Solar panels and electric systems rely on smart utility meters, smart electric meters. Now, if we're out, stand in place, and there are no people around, probably project in the first place, but it's not. Says it's going to serve the site of the community center, aquatic center, commons, and reserve. In other words, where Elk Grove residents go do things at places. There will have to be probably lots, given the size of it. I don't know, square footage of the panels will have to be lots of smart electric all over the place. These will present a health hazard for the city staff that work in these places, for the city residents that go to on research on this. Long-term exposure to electromagnetic fields is hazardous health, causes many serious adverse health effects that include insomnia, tinnitus, headaches, fatigue, cancer, according to the National Toxicology Program study, structural and functional changes of the reproductive system, according to National EMS bills from May 2015. So, especially for the city staff that will be working in places near these smart meters. So, in the course of design, are as far away from people as possible. That's number one, and that they should be shielded. Ask, how could you shield a smart electric? Good question. I don't think there's a perfect way to shield it, but have aluminum screen, essentially build a cage around the front, top, smart electric with aluminum screen, could be several layers, and that will partially shield the reader. There should also be warning signs that warn the staff who who are there and residents who are there, they are close to the source of this electromagnetic field, is hazardous to their health, and for the purpose of protecting their own health, people should maintain distance, which is the greatest distance possible. They should stay away. Please take this seriously. The vendor will not tell you this information. They don't want you to know. Information is out there. If you want any more details, ask me.
You're out there.
Fine. The staff should have done this, included this in the staff report. It is a glaring omission that's not included. Don't want to create long-term health problems. Residents, staff that are working, community center, aquatic center, commons, and serve. Thank you, and good night.
Thank you, caller. Are there any other callers?
We do not have any other callers, and there were no other written comments or other submitted comments for item 9.2. That'll conclude the public comment on that item.
Thank you. I will then close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing now closed. And I will open it up for any questions and comments from council colleagues.
So, Madam Mayor, I did have a question for Ms. Parsons. Are you there, Ms. Parsons?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so my question is related to operations and maintenance costs over the life of 25 years. If a panel breaks, who's on the hook? Who pays how much?
The operation and maintenance costs are annually just under $25,000. And so for a 25-year maintenance agreement, it would total $620,625.
Now, this is negotiated and purchased. This is bundled within this price, correct?
It's not included in this price. It's a separate agreement that will be paid out of the District 56 operating budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other council questions or comments?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, if I may, it's Councilmember Hume.
Yep.
Kristen, I just, every time I see dispense with bidding, it makes the hair on my neck stand up. But this, if I read the staff report correctly and your presentation as well, there was a request for proposals put out and there was only one responsive submittal received. Correct?
That's correct, Councilman Hume. So we did have a competitive process. It just wasn't a formal bidding process for a construction contract because it was for both design and build.
Right, which there's, can be argued that there's efficiencies gained there. I just wanted to make it clear that this was not a hand-selected vendor. Then my next question has to do with kind of the math and how it all adds up. In reading the staff report, there will be 3 photovoltaic sites used to generate the entire amount of electricity in order to get to a net zero. This is only one of the 3. Am I reading that correctly?
My apologies. Yeah, so this is actually for all 3 of those. This is the total project. It's broken up within that array into 3 different services, you might call it. There are 3 existing meters out there, so we need an individual array for each of those meters. But the costs presented here are for the total project.
So then help me understand the math a little better. If we have almost $6 million in electrical costs projected over the 25 years and 1.7 million roughly cost to put this project in, why is it only a 1.6 million net savings instead of a roughly 4.2 million net savings?
That's a great question. And there are additional costs for project management of the project, for construction oversight. There are utility connection fees, building department fees, other costs like that that are associated with the project.
And that, okay. That seems like a lot of other costs associated, but I guess getting to the net zero, obviously you can't overlook the environmental benefit and the doing the right thing aspect of that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Excellent clarifying questions. Any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
So moved. Kevin Speed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
And that roll call vote for the resolution of item 9.2, starting the roll call vote with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
With that, the resolution of item 9.2 will pass 5-0.
All right, next item.
That will take us on to item 9.3, which is a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the City of Elk Grove zoning map and a resolution approving a tentative parcel map for the 10069 and 10087 Bond Road project.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Kara Killingsworth, project planner for the 10069 and 10087 Bond Road tentative parcel map and rezone project. The applicant requested for a rezone of 10 acres from AR5 to AR2 and a tentative map to subdivide the 10 existing 2 parcel acres into 4 parcels, which each will be about 2 acres in size. The project is located on Bond Road, west of Beta Road. One of the existing parcels has an existing home that will remain. The 2 parcels currently have access from an existing private driveway off of Bond Road. The Planning Commission reviewed the project at the December 17th, 2020 Planning Commission meeting. One member of the public spoke, asking questions about the drainage for future development, and staff informed that the commissioners that the drainage for any of the new construction will be reviewed during the building permit process. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval to the council. The rezone request is from AR5 to AR2, which will continue to comply with the general plan land use designation of rural residential. Many of the surrounded properties are either zoned AR5 or AR2. Most recently, the property at 10049 Bond Road was rezoned from AR5 to AR2 in 2020. The existing 2 parcels currently connect from an existing private driveway off of Bond Road. The private driveway will connect to a new driveway with a new access easement, which will comply with the city's rural road standards and the fire district. Parcel A, which has the existing house, will continue to have access from the existing private driveway. The existing access is recorded in the title report. Currently, there are 2 vehicular gates to the 2 existing parcels. The gate to the new parcel B will be removed, and the gate to the existing house on parcel A will remain. Staff finds that no further environmental review is required under CEQA per section 15183, as the project is consistent with the general plan and the zoning code. Any new construction will have to comply with the chapter 16 of the municipal code and the city's climate action plan. The general fund will not be used, and any new improvements will be provided by the applicant. In conclusion, staff recommends that the City Council find that there's no further environmental review and to adopt an ordinance approving a rezone and adopt a resolution approving the tentative parcel map. That concludes my presentation. The applicant is online and staff is available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. I will declare the public hearing now open and invite the applicant to speak.
Mayor, the conference line is open, but I don't currently have the applicant online right now.
Did they indicate a desire to speak?
I believe so.
Well, Mr. Lindgren, have we tried calling? Did you say that we're not able to connect, or what is the issue?
Sorry.
Go ahead,
Sorry,
Karen.
Madam Mayor. The applicant just emailed me and said that the phone number is disconnected and no longer in service.
Kara, let me message you again. It's open. There's no one on the line. I also tried calling them directly on the phone.
Okay.
All right, let's try one more time.
And thank you, viewers, for your patience as we're here on item 9.3 and we're working to make a connection with the project applicant and their team. Just seems to be, I'm a little, I'm wondering if some of our weather elements out there are causing some issues out with the connections that we're trying to make this evening.
I imagine that's definitely coming into play. If at least we've tried a couple of times.
I think what we have is we have both the conference call line. We also do have their numbers. That's just a little bit of a different process in order to pull them in individually. It's presents its own challenges when they're presenting as an applicant team.
Sure.
I think our staff are working to make those connections with them. Sometimes it's just a matter of a little bit of phone tag in order to pull people into the meeting environment.
All right, we will wait a few more moments.
In the interest of time, if there's no further public comment, I'd be willing to move the item.
Great. Mr. Lindgren, were there other comments?
I will say that we don't have any folks that are signed up to speak on the item, and there are no comments that have been submitted prior to. So there's no further public comment on item 9.3.
And I'd be willing to second as well.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second. So before we take that roll call, I'll need to close out the public comment opportunity, or we can move forward a little bit and
just real quick, I did get a message from staff. I believe an incorrect number was being dialed in order for the applicant to get into the setting of the meeting.
Okay.
I think they're making that connection now. But I think as far as where we have been, I think we'll have an opportunity for the applicant to address the item if we haven't yet closed the public hearing. And that we have gone through that there is no public comment that's been submitted on the item. So
all right, then I will close the public comment opportunity.
Okay. Mayor, we have the applicant on the line now.
All right, sounds good. You may go ahead.
Applicant, you may go ahead.
Yes, hi. Good evening, members of the council. This is Javed Siddiqui from JTS Engineering, the applicant. We are agreeable to all the conditions.
It sounds like the applicant is agreeable and he's got the meeting on in the background, so my motion stands.
All right, well, let's move forward since we're having challenges here. And I'm going to go ahead and declare that the public hearing is now closed. And we have a motion and we have a second.
I would just ask Councilmember Hume if you can read that first motion.
Give me just a moment.
I think also just for all of our viewers or all of our participants in the meeting as well, it is very important when you do dial in, if you are playing feedback of the meeting, it will interfere with your phone connection. And so part of it is when you do get into the system, you will want to mute any other devices that might be streaming or doing any kind of activity because they do produce feedback that makes it very difficult for a connection to come through.
Thank you, sir. With that, I will move to introduce and waive the full reading by substitution of title only, an ordinance finding no further environmental review is required pursuant to state CEQA guidelines, section 15183, and approving a rezone for the 10069 and 10087 Bond Road project, planning 20-009, assessor parcel numbers 127-0070-041 and 127-0070-042.
Perfect.
Second, Spies.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
And with that, on the ordinance of item 9.3, I will move on to the roll call vote. Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And then I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution finding no further environmental review is necessary.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
The motion number 2.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second.
And with that, for the resolution, I will have the roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And the resolution of item 9.3 will pass 5-0 as well.
All right, that will move us on to the next item.
And that next item will be item 9.4, which is a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the Southeast Policy Area Special Planning Area, a resolution of intent to adopt an amendment to the Southeast Policy Area Community Plan and approving a tentative subdivision map with design review for subdivision layout, abandonment of a portion of Poppy Ridge Road, and a tree removal permit for the Poppy Keys Southwest project. And I believe staff will be pulling up a PowerPoint for item 9.4. Visuals are coming on. Looking good.
Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen, members of the Elk Grove City Council. Antonio Ablog again here, planning manager, here to present to you the Poppy Keys Southwest project. As Jason mentioned, this project does involve a number of entitlements, including a community plan amendment and special planning area amendment to reconfigure the boundaries and acreages of the existing land uses for the Poppy Keys Southwest site that totals approximately 61.1 acres. Along with those legislative land use actions, the applicant is also requesting a tentative subdivision map with design review to subdivide that 61.1 acres into 324 single-family lots. They will also create 2 park lots, 1 detention basin lot, and 7 landscape or greenway lots. Along with that tentative map, they're requesting abandonment of an excess portion of Poppy Ridge Road and a tree permit to remove 8 trees of local importance. As far as the project location, the project is located on 3 parcels at the north end of the Southeast Planning Area. You can see the Southeast Planning Area land use map in the lower right. This is south of Poppy Ridge Road and east of the new Bighorn Boulevard extension. Just to the north of the project is the Laguna Ridge Specific Plan Area. There are residences to the north and a park site to the north and a school site that will be under construction later in 2021. To the south and east are residential development properties in the Southeast Planning Area. However, those are still vacant, although to the south is the large Sousa Dairy project, which consists of single-family residential and high-density residential, including some mixed use, and that is to the south, but still undeveloped. As far as the land use modifications that are being requested before you tonight, I have the map showing the existing Southeast Policy Area Land Use Plan and the proposed changes to that plan. The proposed changes retain many of the same medium density and low density residential features as the existing map, and the acreages of those areas remain generally the same. However, from the map on the left and the right, you can see the split between medium density, which is the peach, and low density, which is the yellow. It's split differently in the existing. It's split the north half and south half versus the proposed, which is more split east-west. They do retain the larger park site in the southwest. However, there is a park site in the center that is being moved in the proposed map, you see it at the southeast corner, lower right corner of the site. When staff reviewed this and when the Planning Commission heard this as part of the presentation before them, we felt that that movement of that central park site was appropriate, given that just to the north is the large Reardon Park site. I believe it's about 30 acres. And also there is a smaller Sun Grove Park site, about 1.5 acres just off the screen to the north of this boxed in area. And based on staff's measurements, there's no property within the Poppy Keys Southwest site that will be any more than 500 or 600 feet away from a park. So we felt all properties will still be within walking distance of parkland. Again, just mentioning parks and trails, even with the land use changes, the property does retain the parks and trail system as envisioned within SEPA. There are greenways, the Grand Central Greenway, which goes all the way through SEPA down to the Shed Sea Drainage Channel, which will be a natural drainage channel, is retained in the center. That will be 70 feet wide. There is an east-west greenway at the south end of the project, which will be 40 feet wide. Both of those greenways will allow off-street multi-use trails. And then there will be 2 collector roads, the existing Poppy Ridge Road and a new collector road that will go north-south through the project. Those will have pedestrian-friendly street sections, which you can see detailed in the image. There will be off-street pedestrian sidewalks that will be separated from the street with a planter, and there will be on-street dedicated bike lanes for both of those pedestrian-friendly street sections. As I mentioned, there will be a large park and a school site eventually to the north of this. At the Grand Greenway crossing of Poppy Ridge Road, there's a planned pedestrian beacon, and there will be planned to be a 4-way stop where these 2 collectors intersect. And the Planning Commission did request that the applicant work with Public Works and Development Services staff to investigate the possibility of installing a second pedestrian beacon at that intersection should one be warranted. And the applicant has agreed to work with staff on that item. As far as the tentative map does propose a total of 324 units. 234 of those units will be medium density residential units. You can see those in areas 1 and 2. Staff did work with the applicant to provide a good variety of those units. There will be some 45-foot wide by 105-foot deep lots. Another set of lots will be 50 feet wide by 90 feet deep. And the applicant will also be providing a section of alley loaded lots, which staff is in favor of those because they do provide a nice streetscape when you have lots that are as narrow as 40 feet wide as they're proposing. So again, they will propose 234 medium density lots and 90 of our more standard low density residential lots at 55 feet wide by 105 feet deep. They will have to abandon a portion of Poppy Ridge Road. That abandonment is supported by staff based on some street right-of-way that the city acquired for the build out of Poppy Ridge Road based on the design of the subdivision. We found that the Poppy Ridge Road right-of-way is in excess, and a portion of that can be abandoned. Even though we're abandoning a portion of the Poppy Ridge Road right-of-way, the applicant still has enough land available to provide that pedestrian-friendly landscape roadway width. There are tree removals requested with this application. Many of those are due to roadway alignments that are either set in existing plans are set within the SEPA plan. There are several trees that need to be removed within the Poppy Ridge Road alignment. And there are also some trees that need to be removed for the north-south collector road alignment. There is one black walnut tree that is in poor health and has to be removed for safety reasons. And there are 2 other oak trees that must be removed so that the lots could be graded in conformance with the drainage master plan for the southeast policy area. Regarding the California Environmental Quality Act, staff finds that no further environmental review is required pursuant to State CEQA Guidelines 15162. That's related to subsequent EIRs. Staff has found that the community plan and SPA plan amendments will not add any land uses not currently designated for development within SEPA. Furthermore, the proposed number of lots, 324 lots, is within the range of lots allowed under the current density range, which has already been reviewed with that SEPA environmental impact report. Furthermore, with our new general plan, the project will continue to achieve a 15% VMT reduction since the proposed land uses are consistent with what was analyzed under the 2019 general plan. Additionally, while the SEPA environmental impact report does have mitigations related to greenhouse gases, the applicant is agreeing to just a minor condition for electrification of appliances that would bring the project in compliance with our new climate action plan. As far as staff's recommendations, staff recommends that the City Council introduce an ordinance finding that no further environmental review is necessary pursuant to CEQA Section 15162, and amending the Southeast Policy Area Special Planning Area for the project, and adopting a resolution, again, finding no further environmental review is necessary, and declaring an intent to adopt an amendment to the Southeast Policy Area Community Plan, which is part of the general plan, approving a tentative map with design review for subdivision layout, including that abandonment, and a tree removal permit as described during the presentation. That concludes staff's portion of the presentation. I believe we should have the applicant with us tonight to answer any questions, and I can answer any questions should you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I will now declare the public hearing open, and at this time invite the applicant to speak.
The applicant is on the line. You may go ahead.
Hello, council members. Bruce Walters, Walters Land Planning, representing the property owner. We have worked with staff on making revisions to the layout, the MDR in particular, as Antonio described. We are in agreement with conditions of approval, and we look forward to moving forward with construction of this project.
Thank you, sir. I will now open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, for item 9.4, we did not have any prior submitted comments, nor do we have any callers for the item, so that'll conclude the public comment. There is no more public comment for item 9.4.
All right, then I will go ahead and close the public comment opportunity and invite the applicant if you have any other comments that you wish to share.
No other comments. Thank you.
All right, excellent. I will then declare the public hearing closed. And any questions or comments from council?
I'll move the item, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Steen.
And Councilmember Sun, you'll if you can please read the entire motion.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm fiddling with here.
But we appreciate that, members of the council, for when you are doing the motion for our ordinances for those first reads. We appreciate the full reading of those titles.
Yeah, that's okay. I got too many windows open. Motion one, introduce and waive the full reading by substitution of title only, an ordinance finding no further environmental review is necessary pursuant to section 15162, subsequent EIRs and negative declarations of Title 14 of the California Code of Regulations, State CEQA guidelines, and amending the Southeast Policy Area Special Planning Area, SEPA, for the Poppy Keys Southwest Project, EG-17-049, assessor parcel numbers 132-0290-014-015 and -016.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second.
And for that roll call vote on the ordinance of item 9.4, I will start off with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
Ordinance, the first part of 9.4 will pass 5-0.
I'll move the
Next motion.
second motion to adopt the resolution finding no further environmental review is necessary.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
And for that roll call vote, I will start again with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And the resolution of 9.4 will pass 5-0.
All right, excellent. We will then move on to the next item.
That next item is 9.5, which is a public hearing to consider actions and agreements relating to the multi-sport complex and Grant Line Southeast Industrial Area Annexation Project.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. Christopher Jordan, Director of Strategic Planning and Innovation, with this item for you this evening. There are several actions we're asking for your direction and motion on this evening regarding this project, including certification of the Supplemental Environmental Impact Report, General Plan Amendment, and Specific Plan Adoption, establishment of pre-zoning, and various agreements with the county and the South County Conservation Agency relative to implementation, as well as moving the project forward to the Local Agency Formation Commission for action and annexation. A little bit of background first. As you may be aware or recall, back in 2014, the city acquired a approximately 100-acre property at the intersection of Waterman and Grant Line roads with the intent of considering construction of a multi-sport park complex. The site in question is outside the city's existing limits, placing it in unincorporated Sacramento County. And in the interest of having direct control over the design and approvals for the site, as well as tax implications, the city desired to move forward with annexation of the property. Annexation in California is a multi-step process that requires the approval of a separate agency, the Local Agency Formation Commission. All counties in California have one. And the process begins with first approval of a sphere of influence amendment, which ultimately defines the project area that will be considered for ultimate annexation. It includes a CEQA review and a municipal service review. There's then a series of actions contemplated by the local land use agency, in this case, the city, and then other agencies, including things like the water agency, sewer agency, the county, that deal with annexation agreements and updating their service plans. Ultimately, the project returns back to LAFCO for ultimate approval of the annexation and then ultimately recordation with the state of California. A sphere of influence amendment is defined in state law as the probable future boundary and service area of an agency. Since from the time period about 2004 through 2018, the city's sphere of influence was coterminous with the city limits. Beginning in 2018 and 19, LAFCO considered and approved a series of amendments to the city's sphere, including for this project, which was approved in May of 2019. The process for getting to this boundary and why it was ultimately selected and beyond the city-specific property goes back for a couple of pieces. First, consistency with Sacramento LAFCO's policies for sphere boundaries, so they do not create peninsulas or odd shapes, do not cause appropriate land use practices. And second, based upon feedback received from various property owners, including the Mosers and Mahon families. Based upon that, at LAFCO's suggestion and the council's direction, the sphere ultimately included this larger 571-acre area that's outlined on the map before you. Through the SPHERE process, the city and LAFCO jointly prepared an environmental impact report that had been certified ultimately by LAFCO in May of 2019 when they approved the SPHERE. That EIR, as we'll talk about later, contemplated not just the approval of the SPHERE and the annexation itself, but ultimate development of the full 571-acre area. Stepping back to the sports complex project itself, in 2015, staff completed a schematic design for the facility that would construct a full about 80-acre site. Included a series of fields with various levels of amenities, as well as a 20,000 square foot indoor facility. Council expressed concerns with that design and the components within it based upon the cost and the feasibility of being able to operate it, the costs associated with that, and directed staff to consider alternatives to reduce the project cost, including reducing the size and other attributes of the project. Ultimately, staff included an option in the SPHERE Amendment EIR where a portion of the site would be developed as industrial, essentially allowing for it to be sold off. Since 2015, though, all design and planning work on the complex has been suspended. And in 2020, March of 2020, based upon changes in state law with Assembly Bill 1486, the council gave direction to surplus the property with the intent of potentially selling a portion of it. Due to the surplus designation to make the city site attractive, we're considering potentially including the entire site as industrial. That gives us the flexibility to consider where that sale boundary ends up being. I will talk about that a little bit more later. Since SPHERE approval in May of 2019, staff's been working on all the various components that are needed in order to get back to annexation. This includes preparation of the land plan itself, which includes a general plan amendment, a specific plan, and then the pre-zoning for the site, as well as various infrastructure plans that you see on the screen. This also includes the preparation of a plan for service and public facilities financing plan, which is a condition of the SPHERE approval and something required through state law. Based upon the changes in the land plan since the original EIR was certified and the additional detail available in the infrastructure planning, staff's identified the need to prepare a supplemental environmental impact report, which is before you for consideration. Back on the land use front, as I mentioned, industrial is being considered for the city's property, which is highlighted in the yellow line here in the middle of your screen. For the balance of the area, we had considered industrial early on in the process. This is because of the proximity to the site to State Route 99 and the railroad corridor, as well as the proximity of industrial uses to the northeast. Based upon that, and as we'll talk about in a moment with the market study, there's an opportunity to expand industrial uses in the city, and this is a key opportunity site for doing that. For the other properties, those designations were originally considered in consultation with the property owners. For the Mosier property, they weren't sure what exactly to identify as the future land plan. It was early in the process, but felt it important to be part of the SOI process. So a mixed-use designation was identified essentially to create a holding capacity for future development that could be analyzed in the EIR. For the Mann property, which is south of the city piece, the Parks and Open Space designation was identified as there was a discussion back in 2015 about potentially using that property for additional expansion of the sports complex with a potential stadium piece, as well as a potential option for the county fair. For the neighboring piece to the southeast of the city, light industrial and commercial uses were identified, and we've worked with the owner over the course of 2020 to modify the acreages of those, reducing the commercial down to 20 acres, and the balance of the site is light industrial. So you can see that acreage breakdown on the table. What you don't notice here are any sort of buffering components. Those are included not at a land plan level, but included from an agricultural buffer consideration that's in the specific plan itself. So there are considerations there. In the case of the heavy industrial piece that's at the lower end, that property owner owns additional lands further to the south. So that's coordinated upon their holdings. And then for the Parks and Open Space piece and the mixed use piece, those properties respectively of their owners continue further to the south as well. Phasing is an important consideration. As I mentioned, the SPHERE considered the full 571 acres. We're recommending at this point that there be 3 phases to potential annexation. Phase 1 for consideration this evening is the city and the adjoining Kendrick and Cypress Abbey properties that are outlined in red. Future phases could include the Mosier and Mann properties, which are outside that red area but inside the blue boundary, and those properties are highlighted generally in the yellow outline. For both those properties, their ownership extends further south beyond the sphere boundary to the center line of the Cosumnes River. Consistent with state law, those properties would need to be split along the sphere boundary in order so that the whole property could be included. It would need to be 2 parcels essentially. Those properties, given their long-term ownership in the site, the fact that they're in Williamson Act contracts for agricultural preservation and other circumstances surrounding the ownership and the family dynamics, they're not prepared at this time to proceed with annexation. So staff's recommending holding those for a later phase. But as you noticed in the prior slide, land use planning considers the full 571 acres, as does all the infrastructure analysis, which is in keeping with the conditions directed by LAFCO. Moving on to the project approval components before you. First, on the general plan side, the project area is within the East Study area in the general plan. This is an area identified for future annexation. The East Study area identifies what we call an activity center, essentially at the intersections of Grantline and Waterman, which includes a range of land use designations that could be developed there, which are in the table on the screen. They focus on commercial, industrial, and then public service uses based on how the project was scoping out in 2015. Because of the changes before you this evening, because of the land plans before you this evening, some changes to the general plan designations are necessary. We're recommending changing the activity district as shown here on the screen, essentially lowering the retail commercial designations from 3 to 8% of the overall study area down to 1 to 5%, and the industrial increasing that from 10 to 15 up to 15 to 30%. Because of those changes, there would also be updates necessary to the ultimate build-out capacity of the city. And then we would also include revisions to the roadway sizing and transportation diagrams, and those are included in your packet this evening. Our local general plan has several requirements for annexation projects. Among those, the preparation of a market analysis, the preparation of a specific plan, infrastructure analysis and phasing, and then a series of other policies. I won't go into the other policies in any detail. They're included in the attachment to your staff report, but I'll spend time on the other 3 now. First off, on the market analysis, the City commissioned Economic and Planning Systems, a local firm with extensive economic experience in the region and the ability to prepare these reports. They did a market assessment looking at the prospects for industrial development. They ultimately concluded industrial market across the region is performing strongly. The city has a niche role to fill within this gap, this category. The attraction of future users is constrained by the lack of available space within the city today. You really couldn't find a block of land within the city of more than about 20 or 40 acres on which to develop a larger project. So this site is well positioned to respond to market demands in various industrial sectors over the next 20 years, and they're forecasting a demand of between 100 and 400 acres in that time period. So this project would fit in nicely. On the specific plan front, this document describes the ultimate development of the area based upon the land plan, and it contemplates the multi-phase annexation strategy. It addresses the major infrastructure and service obligations and also includes a discussion of agricultural compatibility for a number of reasons, including the fact that through the first phase, especially, there would be existing ag operations to the south and west of the phase 1 annexation. So the specific plan identifies compatibility concerns there and conflicts that may arise and provides guidelines for future development to follow. Inclusion of an agricultural compatibility plan is a conditioned requirement by LAFCO and certainly something that's important to address from a neighbor perspective. Staff has coordinated portions of this with the adjoining neighbors. Zoning implements our general plan and provides the specific development standards that will apply to subsequent development. There's a consistency requirement there. In order for an annexation to be approved and recorded with the state, pre-zoning must first be established by the city. So in keeping with the general plan proposed designations, there'd be a 1-to-1 conversion into the appropriate zoning districts you see here, predominantly light and heavy industrial with shopping center commercial up along Grantline. I won't go into too much detail on the infrastructure and public services side. They're included in your staff report, and there's additional documents that are linked there. We've prepared transportation master plan, which identifies future roadway alignments and sizing, cross sections. There's a series of water master plans, one that looks at the overall infrastructure demand placed on Sacramento County Water Agency in order to provide service, also looks at the availability of water and concludes that there is available water within SCWA to provide service. There's a second master plan which deals with the on-site water service needs and the ability to provide connections. Then there's a sewer master plan, or level 2 sewer master plan, which identifies the connections to the Sac area sewer district service and the appropriate pipe sizing within the project area. No off-site improvements to sewer or water are necessary. For drainage, this identifies the need for drainage basins, detention basins in order to manage the stormwater runoff, as well as the ultimate outfall of that stormwater into the Deer Creek system. Other infrastructure has also been looked at. It is detailed out in the specific plan and the plan for services and public facilities financing plan. Included within that are various public services, including police, library, fire, parks, and others, which are all addressed. Your Planning Commission reviewed the project on January 7th. They had a couple of notes specifically on this for council consideration. First and foremost, recommendation that the city should focus the project on industrial uses and industrial development rather than the sports complex itself. There were concerns about moving that particular piece forward within the overall land use context. They did concur with the market analysis presented and suggested that the city consider naming streets in the project area after some of the property owners, particularly those with long histories in the area. That particular recommendation has been incorporated into the specific plan and would be a consideration as subsequent development occurs. They also received public comments from the project. Some of that's addressed in a table in your staff report for your consideration. Additional comments relative to the EIR were also received, but were substantially the same as written comments that have been received previously. Ultimately, the commission voted 4-0 to recommend approval. Also part of your packet for consideration is an agreement with Sacramento County, which would provide for the sharing of taxes that are generated within the project area. This is also a requirement of state law in order for the annexation to move forward. The county has proposed terms for a 50-50 share of the property taxes that are generated in the area. This differs from what we collect in the original incorporation area, which has an ultimate sunset for the sharing agreement. The county has also proposed sharing of sales into transit occupancy tax, or TOT tax. These would apply to single-purpose regional tax generating uses that are defined in the agreement. Essentially, think retail uses over 75,000 square feet, or to lands that are commercially zoned and of equal to or more than 30 acres. As you'll notice from the land plan, the commercial area only extends to 20 acres. Staff identified some broad concerns with this that are outlined in your report. Essentially, these terms are different than what we've had in either of our prior annexations, either Laguna West or the Franklin Crossing project. Staff did look at other agreements the county's done throughout the region, including Folsom, Galt, and Sacramento. There are some similarities, but not something that is 100% exactly the same. Ultimately, the county has not agreed to any changes requested by staff, noting that this is their standard template. I will note there were some revisions regarding detachment from other agencies and districts that we were able to work more with county staff on, and this morning sent a green sheet out which details that. Essentially, we would strike sections 9 and 10 of the agreement, which deal with detachment from the Slough House Resource Conservation District, as well as from the Okeechobee Hartnell Water District. So those would not be included, and those are consistent with prior action by LAFCO and their consideration. In terms of the environmental analysis, as I mentioned, EIR was jointly prepared by the city and LAFCO in 2019. It considered not only the sphere amendment and the general plan and zoning for the site, but ultimately the annexation and build out. But again, since we've gone through all the infrastructure analysis and the revisions to the land plan, this does trigger the need for a supplemental EIR under SEQI. That supplemental EIR builds off the prior analysis and focuses on the proposed changes and additional information that are available. So it includes an updated analysis for traffic, air quality, greenhouse gases, and other topics. It also addresses the new offsite impacts for infrastructure, particularly in terms of drainage. And then it ultimately carries forward the prior mitigation measures as LAFCO approved them and updates them as relevant based upon the revisions to the project. The draft supplemental EIR was circulated for review on October 9th, closing November 24th. 10 comment letters were received during the comment period. An additional 2 letters were received after the close of the comment period. These same comments were addressed to the Planning Commission in a voicemail you received earlier today. Nothing in the comments alters the conclusions provided in the draft EIR. Staff's responded to all those comments in the final, and it's available for your consideration. The EIR includes a series of mitigation measures to be required through the annexation process. We want to highlight 3 of them for you today. First, in terms of air quality mitigation, in order to conform to the standards and recommendations and requirements of best management practices outlined by the Sacramento Area Metropolitan Air Quality District, an air quality mitigation plan is required. Staff is working on this. In fact, we met with district staff earlier this week to review some initial calculations and procedures to move forward. The second piece is a protocol level biological survey. This is a requirement imposed by LAFCO in the original mitigation measures. We've now prepared this document and it's referenced in your staff report, and we're transmitting it to LAFCO with the application. Lastly, the project area is within the Habitat Conservation Plan for South Sacramento, and there's a requirement in order to complete an agreement for moving forward for implementation. Specific to that, the HCP or Habitat Conservation Plan provides a streamlined process for the take of special status species, habitat, and resources within its overall project area. This project site is within the development area, meaning that take for the status species, habitat, and resources is authorized under the HCP, and we could take advantage of the streamlined process. So mitigation of the impacts as proposed will go through the HCP to ensure consistency with the plan and provide for the overall success of the plan. So before you use an agreement between the city and the conservation agency, which allows future development to mitigate its impacts through the plan. Pursuant to the agreement, future development would be conditioned to utilize the HCP as the mitigation strategy. So that concludes my presentation. Before you on the screen are the recommended actions, and I'm available for questions.
Excellent. Thank you for the report, Mr. Jordan. I will now declare the public hearing open and open the public comment opportunity.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, as Mr. Jordan noted in his presentation, there was the staff memo that was circulated as well as the voicemail that was circulated earlier today. We also received 2 written comments, and then we have 2 callers that have requested to be dialed in for item 9.5, and staff will be pulling them into the meeting environment now.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. My name is Justin Oldfield, and I manage and operate Daling Ranch LLC, which owns the property directly adjacent to the proposed project area on the east side. I'd like to take the opportunity to share just a few brief comments on the item. My wife and I are the second generation to operate our diversified farming operation, and we hope to be able to pass this opportunity along to our children. I want to take the brief opportunity to provide a comment on the proposed annexation. Although it is not my place to comment on proposed future land uses for my fellow neighbors that are within the project area, I do want to state for the record that we desire now and in the future to remain within the unincorporated area of the County of Sacramento and outside the boundaries of the City of Elk Grove. We have every intent to continue our farming operation from Grant Line Road south, and remaining within the sole jurisdiction of the county will better preserve our ability to farm. This will also better ensure we are able to maintain our Williamson Act contract long term, which is critical to our economic survival. As it relates to the project, I want to say that I appreciate the provisions of the Supplemental Environmental Impact Report that seek to minimize the impacts associated with urban development within the project area on adjacent agricultural operations. It's our desire and expectation to see the measures outlined in the plan become fully implemented, particularly as it relates to installing barriers to deter trespassing and establishing buffer zones to reduce conflicts between urban development and agricultural practices. Assuring a successful execution of the project while protecting the ability for adjacent agricultural operations to fully operate remain equally important. I look forward to working with you and your staff to achieve these co-equal objectives. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to comment, and I'm happy to serve as a resource to you and your staff where appropriate as the project advances. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comment. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Am I on?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Good evening, council members, Mayor. For the record, my name is Suzanne Petchy, and I want to make public comment on this item. I've been following the EIR since inception, and I have studied water issues as part of the SCGA board as an ag-res representative. I've been a regular attendee at DWR workshops and webinar regarding water in the region. And in reading the final water study as an attachment to the annexation, I really have some concerns that the water study did not go in depth enough and did not study other water uses other than light commercial and warehousing. It's very important that the water study look into the fact that the project area is adjacent to ag land, which is covered in the Sacramento County General Plan. Agritourism has been a plan for this area, Sacramento area, and the Delta for many years, and was part of the 2030 plan for the region. The final water study states that has a caveat on page 6 that the report does not assume or analyze potential impacts associated with a significant water use, such as beverage production, and that additional analysis would be required should a project include significant water use. Beverage production is very probable water use for not only project area, but for areas outside the project in the off-site development. And I really think that the study should be amended prior to sending it to LAFCO for annexation for this project. I'm sorry, I'm disorganized on this. The other area that I wanted to cover was the draft for the SCWA Zone 40 amendment. It's only a draft, and the final document has not been provided to the public for any public review and comment. This draft report does, in fact, discuss recycled water project, indirect and direct potable water reuse as a possibility for this area. And I really am requesting that going forward that there be transparency by the city with respect to what this project actually is off-site that will relate to the on-site project. I referenced the general plan policy governor, GOV 1-1, community involvement, GOV 1-3, outreach effort for major projects.
Sorry, ma'am, but your time is up. Thank you for calling. Your time is up.
I'm really requesting transparency over self.
Thank you.
I think that's what the new mayor has said.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And with that, those were our 2 callers, and then the other items that were submitted that would conclude the public comment on item 9.5.
All right, thank you. I will now close the public comment opportunity and declare that the public hearing is closed and open it up for council questions or comments and direction.
Madam Mayor, I do have some quick questions here.
Please.
Someone had asked me, I had expected that Ms. Anderson would be on the call today, but I'm not going to go in and read everything that she had asked in terms of to be read out, but I want to try to boil it down. And I want to go back to a question or a statement that you made earlier, Mr. Jordan, related to essentially the shortage of industrial, or of light industrial. And to clarify it, at least in my mind, when you're saying that we have not enough industrial, you don't necessarily mean that we don't have spaces to do commercial, or excuse me, industrial. But what you're saying is the market study says that we need 100 to 400 acres of contiguous land for industrial, correct?
Correct. Yes, there is certainly industrial land in the city that could be built upon. The overall acreage demand of that available space does, in comparison to where we're forecasting the market demand to be over the next 20 years, is less. Further, the configuration of that land is not contiguous, that it could provide for larger industrial users that we're seeing really take shape in the market today.
Okay. And then the next question I had was relative to, industrial is not terribly aesthetically pleasing. What can we do to do it as best as we can, right? Is there any opportunities for that? Is this the right time to address it? Help me out a little bit on that.
Sure. So certainly any development in that area would be subject to the city's design review process and would need to implement the city's design guidelines for industrial and commercial development. As you may be aware, staff is working on a comprehensive update to those guidelines. So that would be an opportunity to include and look at that further. And I would defer it to development services staff that they could talk about that more. If there's specific interest or concern over particular building styles or whatnot, construction methods, we could certainly look at including something in the specific plan this evening if you'd like to add something. But I think at this point, it's important to note that everything would come back through for a public hearing for design review, at least at the Planning Commission level.
Okay. I think, let me flip. I got a lot of screens open here myself. Let me flip back in that. I think that addressed the questions that I had. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions from council?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, this is Councilmember Hume. CJ, walk me through the bit about the proposed tax sharing piece and how it does or does not comport with what we've done in the past and what other jurisdictions have done relative to the sharing.
Sure. So to date, the city has only executed 2 tax sharing agreements with the county. The first was for Laguna West in 2004, and the other was, in I believe 2008 or 2009, for the Franklin Crossing project. The Franklin Crossing project is 100% residential, so there's no need for it to speak to any sort of sales tax sharing component. So we believe the county just excluded it at that point. The 2004 agreement for Laguna West is certainly a much older document. So I think the county may have been more focused on property taxes at that particular point. So as we looked around the region, Folsom is probably the most robust of the ones that we looked at. It actually includes a range of tax sharing, not just with the county, but with a series of other service providers. It also includes requirements for sharing for not just property tax, but also sales tax and transit occupancy tax. Much larger project, obviously, in comparison. The Galt project that we looked at, I believe, is nearly entirely residential or might have a very small retail component that's more neighborhood serving. So it would not meet that threshold that the county's proposed for the sort of larger regional or larger tax generating use, essentially a big box format retailer. The closest we've actually found, I believe we found, is the City of Sacramento agreement for Greenbrier. In that case, there not only was the sharing on the property tax, but there was a sales tax and TOT component. Although those didn't kick in until the city rezoned more than 30 acres of retail. I believe there are in the current plans, or at least at the time the agreement was approved, there were exactly 30 acres of commercial land in the plan.
And where exactly is Greenbrier in Sacramento?
Greenbrier is in the break between Interstate 5 and Highway 99 as you're going out towards the airport. It's basically in between 99 and the Metro Air Park development.
That's just north of Thomas. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions from council? All right, I have just a couple of questions in regards to sort of process and transparency. How many opportunities has the public had up until this evening to engage, provide input? If you can just put that for the record.
Sure. So in terms of the overall project itself, the last substantial public engagement occurred in 2015. That's where we shared the overall land plan, talked about the sports complex itself. There was an extensive hearing discussion at the city council meeting in September of 2015. In terms of the sphere process itself, LAFCO had its public hearing process in May of 2019. Obviously, you had the EIR circulation and review at that time. For this effort, for the most recent work in 2020, obviously the supplemental EIR there was a notice of preparation that was circulated over the summer. There was the draft EIR available in the fall, and then obviously the final. We've made all the documents along the way available on the website, and I believe our public affairs team has also sent out various updates about the project and notification about hearing opportunities through our social media profiles.
I'm hearing anywhere between 7 to 10 different opportunities along the way, if not more.
Without spending time counting them, that sounds to be in the ballpark.
Okay, that's super helpful. And then last question as it relates to the TOT. What is the percentage of the TOT in Elk Grove?
I would actually defer to Brad or Jason. I think they know those numbers better than I do. Brad, are you available?
This is Brad Kane, your finance director. The city's transient occupancy tax is 12%, and then the existing hotels in Elk Grove have joined into a business improvement district that has an additional 2% on that goes for marketing to generate business for their hotels.
Brad, this is Donald, and that's now 3%.
Oh, yes, that's correct.
My apologies for interrupting.
Okay. Great.
Mayor?
Yes.
This is Councilmember Soon. I had just a affirmation question for Christopher. I heard from your comments about the revenue sharing agreement that you don't see any reason for the county to change. I guess I'm deducing then you're saying this is the best deal we're going to get.
I would actually characterize it as I think this is the only deal we're going to get.
Okay. That's okay.
Staff did spend extensive time discussing and negotiating points. None of them were received in a modification by the county.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm confident you guys did do your due diligence. And along those lines, I just want to commend you and your staff for all this work. The municipal services review and obviously the planning efforts. We've been looking at this for a while. I do appreciate the opportunity that remains for a multi-sport complex. And as we looked at it earlier in the past, a larger one may not have been financially feasible, but I'm glad that at least the opportunity remains for us to examine something along there. I do concur with the market study as well, providing the opportunity. I mean, other cities like, Roseville had done it decades ago, Rancho as well, setting aside large swaths of land for something like this. And I think our day will be coming to realize opportunities in the industrial land use realm. With that, I'm be happy to move the item forward. And I think I need to pull up my agenda again here. So I would move motion 1 to adopt the first 3 resolutions of the staff recommendation.
All right, we have a motion.
Hume, second.
We have a motion and a second.
And for that, that's these first three of the resolutions of the staff recommendation under item 9.5. I'll start with that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The first set of resolutions will pass 5-0. And we do have a menu of options on this item, so I'll let you continue.
The next motion, yes, motion number 2, and that has to be read out.
Motion 2, introduce and waive the full reading, but by substitution of title only, an ordinance adopting pre-zoning for the multi-sport park complex in Grant Line Southeast Industrial Area Phase 1.
Great. We have a motion. I hear a second from Vice Mayor Nguyen.
And with that roll call vote for the ordinance under 9.5, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The ordinance of item 9.5 will pass 5-0.
Finally, motion 3 to adopt the remaining 3 resolutions of the staff recommendation.
All right, we have a
And
motion.
just so I can confirm, Councilmember, would that include the green sheet before you this evening?
Oh, yes, sorry. Yep.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
I'll second, please.
We have a motion and a second.
And for that roll call vote to adopt those through the remaining 3 resolutions, including those adjustments through the staff memo green sheet, I'll start the roll call vote with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
Those resolutions as adjusted will pass 5-0.
Great. Let's move on to the next item.
I'll take us on to item 9.6, which is a public hearing to consider actions approving a consolidated general plan amendment for the previously approved Poppy Keys Southwest tentative subdivision map project and the multi-sport park complex and Grant Line Southeast Industrial Area annexation project.
Thank you, council members, Mayor. Just real briefly on this item, I don't have a formal presentation, but as you see in your staff report, the city is a general law city, which limits our number of general plan amendments we can do in a year to 4. Typically, we will bundle these up as appropriate throughout the year when necessary. This particular year, we're expecting a number of amendments to come forward, including the housing elements, updates to the safety element, and a variety of other things. So we're bundling for you this evening, quarter 1. So includes the 2 projects you've heard this evening under items 9.4 and 9.5. With that, I'll conclude the presentation and staff's available for questions.
Great, thank you for that. I will now declare the public hearing open and open the public comment opportunity.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we did not receive any prior written comments on item 9.6, nor do we have any callers this evening. That'll conclude the public comment under item 9.6.
Thank you. I will then close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing closed and opening it up now for questions and answers from council colleagues.
Motion.
All right, we'll go right into a motion. We have a motion there from Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Second. Hume.
We have a motion and a second.
And with the roll call vote, I'll be starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The resolution of item 9.6 will pass 5-0.
Great. Let's move on to our next item then.
I'll take us on to item 9.7, which is actually 2 public hearings to consider the 64th annexation to CFD or Community Facilities District number 2006-1 for maintenance services and the 37th annexation to Stormwater Drainage Fee Zone 2.
Can you see my screen?
Indeed.
Okay. Okay, Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. I'm Renee Attar, Finance Analyst for the city. I'm here this evening with a presentation for proposed annexations into the city's special tax districts. The city maintains 8 special tax districts, which provide funding for infrastructure or services such as for police, maintenance, street lighting, and stormwater drainage. A project may require annexations, and annexations into the appropriate districts are typically part of a project's approval process. The requirements are specific for each project and vary according to the geographic location and building use. The special taxes are subject to annual rate adjustments. Tonight, there are 2 projects excuse me, that are being proposed for annexation into 2 districts. The first district is CFD 2006-1 for maintenance services throughout the city of Elk Grove. The second is for stormwater drainage fees, Zone 2 for stormwater drainage and runoff maintenance. Additionally, the owners of the Union Park Delivery Station, ALM Elk Grove LLC, also have additional acres that are being developed, but that were not a part of the Union Park Delivery Station project. Those parcels are proposed to be annexed into the stormwater drainage fee Zone 2 only. Both of these levies are going to be levied in perpetuity. The first project is the Elk Grove Food Bank, which consists of 2 non-residential acres located southwest of Elk Grove Boulevard and Waterman Road. The second project is the Union Park Delivery Station and the parking lots. The Union Park Delivery Station is 17 non-residential acres located southeast of Elk Grove Boulevard and Elk Grove Floyd Road. And again, the owner of the project also owns 9 non-residential acres that will be developed into parking lots. And this concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I will now declare the public hearing for CFD 2006-1 open and open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, there were no comments received prior to the hearing and no callers requested to call in. That will conclude public comment for the item for CFD 2006-1.
Thank you. I will now close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing for CFD 2006-1 closed.
Hume, motion A1.
All right, we have a motion for A1.
Second.
We have a motion and 2 seconds.
I'll give it to the Vice Mayor.
First. Yes.
And then we'll proceed with that roll call vote for motion A1, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
Resolution will pass 5-0.
Okay, requesting the results of the ballot tabulation.
Most definitely. Of 20 possible votes, 20 affirmative votes were cast authorizing the city of Elk Grove to levy a special tax at the rate apportioned and described. The measure passes with more than 2/3 of all votes cast in the election in favor of the measure. A resolution declaring the results of the election is available for council consideration.
Thank you.
Hume.
Motion A2.
Motion A2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
And that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The resolution will pass 5-0.
All right, next up is motion for A3. Motion A3.
I'll move to introduce and waive the full reading by substitution of title only in ordinance leveling and apportioning the special tax and territory annexed to Community Facilities District number 2006-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number.
We lost a little bit at the end there, Councilmember Hume, right at annexation number 64.
Roger that, and amending Elk Grove Municipal Code section 3.19.010.
Perfect.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
The roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The ordinance will pass 5-0.
All right, on to our second public hearing, SWDF Annex 37. I will declare the public hearing for SWDF Annex 37 open and open the public comment opportunity.
And likewise, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, no comments were submitted prior to the meeting, nor were there any callers that wish to call in on this item, and that'll conclude the public comment for this second part of item 9.7.
Thank you. I will then close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing for SWDF Annex 37 closed and request the clerk to provide the results of the ballot tabulation.
There is no majority protest of 30 possible votes weighted according to the proportional financial obligation for each property. 30 affirmative votes were returned. The ballots approved the proposed assessment and the proposed inflation adjustment limits described for the parcels identified in the ballots. A resolution determining to levy assessments in the district is available for council consideration.
Thank
Motion
you.
B.
I have a motion for motion B.
Second.
Motion and a second.
And that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And that resolution will pass 5-0.
Excellent. Let us move on to the next item.
That'll take us on to section 10, our regular agenda action items and recommendations, starting with item 10.1, which is to receive an update on the Bloomberg Innovation Training Program.
Good evening. Can you see my screen?
We have audio and visual. Everything looks good. Please proceed.
Great. This is Carrie Whitlock, Strategic Planning and Innovation Program Manager for the city. I'll be providing a short presentation on the Bloomberg Innovation Training Program in which the city is currently participating. Bloomberg Philanthropy's government innovation team undertakes a number of activities intended to support local governments in overcoming obstacles and meeting today's challenges. The innovation training program helps cities to learn how to adopt cutting-edge innovation techniques that engage residents in developing, testing, adapting, and scaling creative ideas that can have lasting impact. The current round of the innovation training program was initially announced in January 2020 with a planned start in March 2020. Elk Grove was selected to participate along with 15 other cities across North America. After a 6-month pause for them to retool for the public health guidelines related to COVID-19, the program restarted in October in a virtual environment. This program uses a design-based innovation approach. This methodology is helpful because it provides a framework and a new way of approaching problems to foster innovation, giving staff a set of tools to help understand complex problems in new ways. The program provides a structured approach for us to be able to institutionalize design-based innovation within our organization. It is intended to help us to understand the root cause of a problem rather than simply jumping to a solution which may or may not actually address the cause. The approach promotes productive collaboration with stakeholders early and throughout the process to build support from residents and key partners. It can also reduce the risk of wasting time and money on ideas that don't work by focusing on prototyping and refining prior to piloting and implementation. There is also a focus on testing ideas for measurable impact in our community. This graphic shows the path to innovation methodology used by the program. It's an iterative approach where we are continually learning and improving. There is a start where we work on understanding the problem and refining our understanding through research, stakeholder interviews, and data gathering and analysis. There's also a finish where ideas are implemented and shared, but the methodology offers opportunities to continually learn and refine throughout the process. We have currently completed the understanding phase of the program, having spent time on refining our problem and understanding that problem better. We're moving now into the generate phase where we will work with residents to develop and prototype ideas and have a portfolio of initiatives that can then move to the final phase for piloting and measuring impact. Each city in the program was able to identify a specific problem statement that they wanted to work on throughout the duration of the training program. Elk Grove decided to focus on improving and broadening resident engagement to ensure that underrepresented voices are being heard. After our initial work on understanding the problem, we really decided to focus specifically on youth engagement and working to bring the energy and passion for service within the middle and high school age groups to city processes and systems. The city has 9 staff members from across city departments representing Public Works, Development Services, city managers, finance, and the police department who are participating in this 9-month program. The intention is that these 9 staff members will be able to bring the methodology and the tools learned during this program to approach other problems within the city. We have worked with a professional coach trained in human-centered design and a team of experts convened by Bloomberg Philanthropies and led by the Center for Public Impact on this work. We should have Sumai Shruti from the CPI, who's worked with us since October on the phone to help with any questions that you may have about the program. So finally, we're about halfway through the project, and we will spend the next several months on generating and testing new ideas that we are working to develop with our stakeholders. We will then work on plans for implementing, tracking progress, and measuring impact for those ideas. And we will conduct a final presentation at the conclusion of the program in the spring of this year. So with that, I am available for any questions.
All right, excellent presentation. I will now open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we did not receive any prior comments on item 10.1, nor do I have any callers that are signed up to speak on the item. So that would conclude the public comment for 10.1.
All right, then I will then close the public comment opportunity and open it up for any questions or comments from council. We'll start with Council Member Spies.
Wow, I get the privilege of being first all the time. Thank you. I appreciate the update, and it looks good. Looking forward to hearing more about it in the future. Thank you.
Council Member Sun.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to also thank Carrie for the presentation. I think it's a great way to analyze things without minimizing bias and letting things play out. So I especially with the pilot programs. So I look forward to more implementation of this method. Thank you.
Councilmember Hume.
Thank you for the update, Carrie. Good job.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
I agree with everybody. Thank you.
For one of the new members on the team, this was an excellent report, and glad to see the partnership and opportunities with Bloomberg Innovation Training Program. So thank you for the report. Appreciate it. All right, with that, we will move on to the next item.
The next item is 10.2 to consider an ordinance amending Elk Grove Municipal Code Chapters 9.208 concerning public consumption of marijuana and Chapter 9.31 concerning marijuana dispensaries and delivery.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Shane Diller, Assistant Director of Development Services. The item before you, I don't have a formal presentation or PowerPoint for it. It amends the Elk Grove Municipal Code to ensure consistency with state law. It also provides better specificity regarding regulations of the consumption of cannabis and to clarify language regarding certain prohibited activities. It amends both Elk Grove Municipal Code Chapter 9.28 and 9.31. The amendment to Chapter 9.28 adds definitions that are consistent with state law, and it replaces general regulations with specific prohibitions against cannabis consumption. Those prohibitions include prohibition against consuming cannabis in public, smoking cannabis where smoking is generally prohibited, smoking cannabis within 1,000 feet of a school, daycare, or youth center. There's an exception to that regulation that if it's on private residential property and the smoking is not detectable at the school, daycare, or youth center, then it would be allowed. It would also prohibit possessing or consuming cannabis on the grounds of any school, daycare, or youth center. It prohibits smoking or consuming cannabis while driving or operating or riding as a passenger in a vehicle, boat, or aircraft. And it prohibits the manufacturing of concentrated cannabis using a volatile solvent. Chapter 9.28's amendment also would declare that violations of our own cannabis regulations, that while they also violate state law, would be enforced through our Elk Grove Municipal Code public nuisance abatement tools, such as administrative citations, fees, and fines. The proposed amendment to Municipal Code Chapter 9.31 makes changes to the title and definitions in order to conform to state law and to clarify that delivery of cannabis, like other commercial cannabis activities, is prohibited in the city of Elk Grove. The amendment also changes definitions in this chapter to remove references to state laws that have been superseded. I don't have any more formal presentation than that, but I'm certainly available for questions and happy to go over the list of regulations again if anybody would like to.
Thank you, Mr. Diller. I will now open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we did have one caller who requested to dial in this evening. They also submitted a written comment, which was distributed to the full city council, and staff will be pulling that caller into the meeting environment at this time.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Daniel Kress. I've been a resident of Elk Grove since the year 2000. My wife and I grew up here. We're very proud to raise our 2 sons in this community. Both my wife's parents and my parents still live in Elk Grove. We love this city, and we try to do our part to make Elk Grove better for the next generation. I've been the dispensary manager and education coordinator for a Therapeutic Alternative for the last 5 years. Therapeutic Alternative is a state-licensed storefront cannabis dispensary in an upscale neighborhood of East Sacramento. We have been in operation for over 10 years now. In this time, we've made a positive impact in our community where we specialize in education and outreach to seniors. Our goal is always been to provide safe access to lab-tested cannabis medicine and more recently, adult use products, but more importantly, to use our feet-on-the-ground relationship with the community to make a positive impact. We even provide security and neighborhood cleanup for our entire block and can provide a dozen letters of recommendation from our neighbors. I say all of this to show you that a cannabis business can make a positive impact in the community it serves. I would like to invite you, all of you, for a fully transparent tour of our dispensary in order to provide you with insight into how the business operates. I will follow up this comment by sending an invitation letter to the city clerk for each of you and your staff. Thank each of you for all of you do to make Elk Grove a great place to live and raise a family. And that'll be it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, caller.
And that was our one caller for the item. That'll conclude public comment for item 10.2.
Great. I will now close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council deliberations, questions.
I'll motion to introduce and waive the full reading by substitution of title only and ordinance amending Elk Grove Municipal Code Chapter 9.28 and 9.13 related to personal use, deliveries, and dispensing of marijuana, CEQA exempt.
Second. With one correction, it's 9.31, just for the record.
Thank you for that. And I will then proceed with that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wynne.
Aye.
And Mayor St. Allen.
Aye.
The ordinance of item 10.2 will pass 5-0.
All right, on to our next item.
That'll take us to item 10.3, which is to consider a resolution of actions relating to the property at 9260 Elk Grove Boulevard, declaring intention to reimburse building acquisition expenditures for the library project from the proceeds of future bond issuances, and directing staff to record all necessary budget adjustments for acquisition and closing costs, due diligence costs, etc.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor and council members. Christopher Jordan presenting this item. As Jason mentioned, we have a number of actions for your consideration this evening related to the acquisition of this property, which would provide for the relocation of the Elk Grove Branch Library. Library services in the city and throughout Sacramento County are provided by the Sacramento Public Library Authority. The city provides the physical space for library facilities, specifically for the Elk Grove Library itself on the east side of town, and the Library Authority occupies and operates those facilities. There are two existing branches in Elk Grove, the Elk Grove Branch, which is located in Old Town at the corner of Elk Grove Boulevard and Elk Grove Florin, as well as the Franklin Branch, which is co-located with Franklin High School. In 2018, staff prepared and the council considered a library and cultural arts center study, which, among other things, recommended the development of a new destination library at the District 56 complex, which would also include the development of a performing arts center. It also recommended the relocation of the Elk Grove Branch to a larger facility between 25 and 30,000 square feet, and the ultimate repurposing of the Franklin Branch facility. The site at 9260 Elk Grove Boulevard measures approximately 17,300 square feet in a single story in configuration. It would increase the available square footage for the Elk Grove Branch by about 3,500 square feet. While this is short of the overall goal of 25 to 30,000 square feet, the site, at being a little over 2 acres, would provide opportunity for future expansion if necessary. Although that additional square footage that the study recommends could be accommodated in the destination library at District 56. The site also has 95 developed parking spaces, which is nearly double the existing at the Elk Grove Branch. The site was previously occupied as a Rite Aid retail store, which you can see in the photograph on the screen, making it ideal for a library facility. Staff has been coordinating with the Library Authority, has had 2 tours of the building with their staff. They are extremely excited to be potentially moving to this facility. Last week, staff from the city and SPL briefed the Friends of the Library on the potential acquisition and relocation and received strong support from them as well. And I believe you have public comment correspondence from the Friends group this evening that was distributed. Staff's recommended approach would be to complete the acquisition this evening. We would maintain operations at the existing branch until tenant improvements are completed. We're beginning the process for scoping out what those may be, and SPL, Sac Public Library, will actually begin that process on their end to start the schematic design work. Public engagement on that process is also planned, but I don't have details for you at this time. The city may consider sale of the existing building at Elk Grove Florin at such time, or we may want to consider repurposing the building for other city use. No decisions have been made yet. The city would ultimately take over construction of responsibility for the future development. You would ultimately see 1 or more CIP projects, capital improvement program projects, proposed later this year with the upcoming CIP update and budget. In terms of the purchase, we'll note that the property was originally listed for sale by the existing owner in 2018 with an asking price of just over $9.9 million. That asking price assumed that Rite Aid was remaining as a tenant at the time through their lease in 2030. However, in January of 2019, Rite Aid closed the location. Since that time, staff's been conducting negotiation with the owner in recognition of the fact that Rite Aid is closed and has negotiated a purchase price of $3 million. Staff has conducted numerous due diligence activities, including a as-is market appraisal, which valued the building at approximately $3.65 million. Also completed a phase 1 assessment and inspections of the building, including heating and ventilation system, electrical, plumbing, and roof. I will note that the roof is under warranty through December of 2029. The inspection of the roof identified a few deferred maintenance items that need to be addressed. The estimated cost for those repairs is just under $20,000. Staff has negotiated with the seller to make the roof repairs prior to close of escrow or provide an escrow credit to the city for the cost of the repairs. If they fail to complete them to the agreement of the city, then we'll receive that credit and ultimately include those revisions or updates to the system, to the roof system repairs as part of the future capital improvement effort. We've also reviewed the current utility and landscaping costs, which are approximately $1,200 a month. So you have a budget amendment for you this evening that would add those costs in going forward, and then we would budget them in future years through the normal budget process. We're also proposing this evening a closing cost of $5,000, which would bring the total price to $3,005,000. Financing for the acquisition would come from two sources. First, the capital facilities fee, which is a development fee we charge on new construction, would cover the portion of the building square footage that is increasing from the existing, but it would not cover the balance of the building square footage or the balance of the site. That would be a general fund obligation to cover that. Staff is proposing the use of debt, issuance of debt for the acquisition. This would actually reimburse the city at a later point in time to provide for cash flow purposes, and the finance team can provide more details if you'd like on that. The bonds are expected to be issued as tax exempt, so part of the motion this evening requests you consider the reimbursement opportunity, which would allow that to happen. This would be bundled with a proposed debt issuance later in the year for the Studio Court property remodel, which provides additional building space for the police department. Staff has reviewed the project for consistency with the general plan and notes that it is pursuant to goals CS1 and policy CS11. Additionally, acquisition is exempt from the environmental review pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15061B3, the general rule, and section 15301 for existing facilities. Concludes my presentation. Staff's available for questions if you have them.
Thank you for the presentation. I will now open the public comment opportunity.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we do have 5 callers that have requested to be dialed in this evening, and we also did have 4 written comments that were received prior to the meeting time and circulated to the full city council and staff. Staff will start pulling in those callers.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Paul Lindsay. I'm president of the Friends of the Elk Grove Library, and I'm addressing you tonight in that capacity, as well as speaking on my own behalf. The community has long supported libraries, both before and after cityhood. In fact, the most recent facilities master plan states that libraries of the 21st century are a nexus of interaction and engagement, environments that foster communication and connections between residents, and that encourage active learning, civic engagement, and a strong sense of place. Tonight, staff's recommending the city acquire the property at 9260 Elk Grove Boulevard and to use that property to relocate the library from its existing site. Friends of the Elk Grove Library respectfully but resoundingly concur with staff's recommendation. The master plan that was issued in August 2018 recognized several issues with the existing facility. It was outdated, had half the library space as neighboring communities on a per capita basis. Parking lot layout, it was inefficient with an inadequate amount of parking spaces. The 2-story design created operational and user challenges, a lack of adequate space for patron demand, quality of construction did not reflect public library building standards, and there are identified structural, mechanical, and acoustical issues. And just to, as an aside, you had to pay quite a bit to fix some of those structural problems. The staff report tonight puts it pretty clearly. Over time, customer feedback regarding location, size, and accessibility of the facility, as well as high maintenance costs incurred by the city, have been less than desirable. Same staff report recognized the following benefits of the new location: greater acreage, greater square footage, a single-story layout, more parking spaces, greater accessibility. It's consistent with the general plan, and there's room for expansion if necessary. Although not stated in that report, the acquisition would also benefit the community by allowing the city to work collaboratively with the Sacramento Public Library Authority and the community to bring a 21st century library to Elk Grove. The Friends of the Elk Grove Library strongly urge you to adopt a resolution within the staff report and to acquire the property for use as the next Elk Grove Library. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Lindsay. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of the City Council. My name is Alejandro, and I want to comment on the adoption of the acquisition of that property. So I completely understand the need of expansion of our public library. The people of Elk Grove deserve a space for art, intellectuality, social congregation, especially free from prejudice and discrimination. Public libraries historically have been places of refuge for people who look for intellectual growth. I support the idea of supersizing our public libraries in our city, but I do not support the idea of removing the only library close to an elementary and middle school in District 3. And you, Mayor, with your previous experience, will agree with me that education is super important for our kids. If the argument is for sizing our homes of intellectual property, let's look for alternative near the current place, or let's multiply our spaces. Instead of one big place, we can see or look for 5 spaces or other spaces in our district or different districts. Our libraries is used for young adults. I see teenagers. I've seen people from different cultural backgrounds trying to study, reading newspapers, many times studying for American citizenship, SAT. So my concern is with the need of moving our public library. It's near a public school, elementary and middle school. Why we want to increase an extra mile for our kids to be walking to the library? And I really feel that we should be looking at the space we're moving, because near that place, it is Panda Express, there is a Starbucks, we have Bel Air, so there's no schools around that. And who use our public library are mostly kids and our students. So I really feel that the value of increasing the size of our library is amazing. I am an advocate for that. But I don't think we should be moving to a place where kids cannot congregate. And finally, Mayor, I really want to ask you, you are a new mayor for our city. Let's reinvent our city. Libraries were made in 1960s, 1970s. We are in 2021. Books are sitting on the libraries. With COVID, nobody can go. Let's mobilize. Let's make this city for the people. And I really hope that I can still have a voice for that. I feel like there's a lot of work being done here, but I don't want to minimize that. But I really want to bring this new perspective. I feel like we could do better. I feel like building, it is good, but there's new cities and we can build new places for education and growth. So thank you, Mayor, and have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Next caller, please.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you for this opportunity to address the council. My family and I have been residents of Elk Grove since 2008, and we've loved seeing the new positive developments around our city, especially in regards to the arts. In communicating recently with the Elk Grove Arts Commission via email, I was informed that, quote, at the August 2018 City Council meeting, the council voted in favor of the consultant recommendations for a 300 to 500-seat performing arts center and 2-story library to be built at the corner of Bighorn and Civic Center Drive as part of the District 56 campus. At the time, the construction estimate of the project was $82 to $113 million. The City Council directed staff to complete the Community Senior Center and the Preserve area first, as those projects were already planned and funded prior to moving the Library and Performing Arts Center forward. The center opened in January 2020, and the Preserve Nature area is currently under construction with plans for completion in fall of 2021. Once the Preserve opens later this year and we're able to get it operational, city staff will revisit the Library and Performing Arts Center, end quote. From this agenda item presented today, it seems as though moving forward is happening sooner than later, which is great. The acquisition of the property at the old Rite Aid includes details for the 2 libraries and plans for their relocation. However, it remains unclear if there was any analysis of uses of the cultural an arts facility, specifically the 300 to 500 seat Performing Arts Center. Since the Performing Arts Center seating was not mentioned in this plan, am I correct to assume that this new facility will not include a stage and theater seating? If not, when will the theater planning resume? Since we already have 2 existing libraries, wouldn't it be feasible to add this Performing Arts Center first? Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, caller. Next caller, please.
And I think we're just trying to make some connections, but we do want our folks that have desired to sign up to speak, make sure you're near your phones and able to pick them up.
Caller, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, and city staff. My name is Jeffrey Rubin. For over 8 years, I had the opportunity to serve as president of the Elk Grove Friends of the Library, your community-based volunteer organization dedicated to advocating for the library and raising funds to enhance branch services. In this role, I've been before this body numerous times, and I've always been impressed and grateful as to your understanding of the importance of public library services and the allocation of funds as available to support the library. Over 100 years ago, interested Elk Grove residents had the foresight to create the first public library in California. In the ensuing years, the Elk Grove branch, now joined by the Franklin branch, have served as a gateway to knowledge and culture in our community and have continuously played a fundamental role in a creative and innovative society now known as the City of Elk Grove. Today, as we approach almost 180,000 in population, it is time for us to have state-of-the-art public library facilities that will continue to open possibility and transform our community through education, employment, entrepreneurship, empowerment, and engagement. All this while playing a critical role in the digital age. I am incredibly grateful for tonight's agenda item to purchase and locate a new, larger library building with sufficient parking to replace the existing but unsuitable Elk Grove branch. This action culminates almost a decade of our advocacy before you. Much can be done at this new city. The possibilities are endless, not just in the library arena, but in conjunction with numerous other community partners. A modular approach in design and construction will allow all age groups to receive needed state-of-the-art services by the award-winning professional staff of the Sacramento Public Library System. Sufficient funding beyond the basic infrastructure will allow for the facility to grow to meet the needs of the eastern side of Elk Grove and one day serve as a satellite branch of a new main library in the District 56 complex. I would ask for your aye vote on this item. Thank you for your time and attention. This concludes my presentation this evening.
Thank you, caller, for your comments. Next caller, please.
And I just want to touch base with staff. We did have a 5th caller, but it sounds as though we're not able to make that connection this evening.
Okay. Then I will go ahead and close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council deliberations, comments, direction. We will start with Council Member Hume.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, just as a general comment, I support this move. I think that as I think it was Ms. Paul Lindsay that brought up the original purchase of the current building, which was not a decision made by anybody on the dais currently or in staff. May have been ill-advised. I think it was rushed through for political reasons, but anyway, it's at least been made due to work for as long as it has. However, it has so many issues with both the usability of it as well as the parking surrounding it. So while this is not the ideal fix-all panacea, it is definitely a potential for a better, more usable environment for this branch of the library. And I say this branch of the library because in that library plan, as was mentioned in Christopher's staff report, the idea was to expand the Elk Grove branch to repurpose the Franklin branch and then add another property at the Civic Center. So for the folks that were calling out for the piece to be built on the Civic Center, we would like to make that happen, but obviously that's a much bigger bite to take than this, which I think is kind of a stopgap measure to provide better services in East Elk Grove. And for the caller that mentioned that this is moving the library farther away from some high schools and middle schools and elementary schools, you can say the same, that it's moving it closer to Pleasant Grove High School, Albiani Middle School, and Beatty Elementary School. So while this may not be everything to everybody, it's an improvement over the current situation. And so, the idea of continually improving and trying to get better and better and do better and better speaks to me. So I do support this move. And I would make the motion for the motion.
Pardon me really quickly, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. We had a number transposed from the public callers, and if you would entertain, we do have one final caller. It is from Rivka Sass, the director over at the Library Authority.
Yes.
And we can pull her into the meeting environment, and we'll get the 3-minute clock running, but we'll pull her into the meeting. But sorry for that. That was just we were trying to make the connection, and we did make the connection just a little bit later than our usual process.
Caller, you may go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Rivka Sass, and I'm the Library Director at Sacramento Public Library Authority, and I'm thrilled to be able to speak to you tonight. And first want to thank CJ for all his hard work on his staff report and working with us about finding a potential new home for the Elk Grove Library. We like it. We like it because it's a big, wide open space. There's extra square footage to allow for extra programming, including things like innovative, a maker space, a better space for children ages 0 to 5, which is a priority of the library. This library would be a truly welcoming space for the community. And listening to an earlier presentation about design thinking, it's a big, wide open space. Let's be flexible. Let's make it work. And it can be iterative, which is one of the things that excites us about the possibility of it. We think it will allow us to better serve you because 2 floors are much more difficult to operate than a 1-story building. So that will allow us, we hope, to increase hours. We love the concept of reuse, which is so important in this day and age. And, Elk Grove at this point, as Mr. Rubin said, it's a city approaching 180,000. That's a real city. You deserve a real library, and we think this is it for now. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty darn good. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about how we can better serve the Elk Grove community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate it. We will continue on with our deliberations here, and I will turn to Councilmember Soon.
Thank you, Mayor. As a former member of the Sacramento Public Library Authority, Vice Mayor and I, we've been looking at this for some time, the purchase. And I would agree with the earlier comments that were made that this is an improvement over what we currently have. The additional parking is going to be very helpful. I've frequented the current library on Elk Grove Florin and Elk Grove Boulevard, and it's just horrendous trying to park there. And one caller talked about the dangers of kids, or I might have read in the green sheet too, but kids crossing the road to get there. I mean, with the current situation, you don't have available parking, and it's more likely for children having to run across streets in that area. So anyway, this is definitely an improvement. And I also want to echo the sentiment that the other library with the Performing Arts Center, is an aspiration for us, but as the caller mentioned, I mean, you're in the $100 million price tag range, and without another source of revenue, I just don't see when that's going to be able to come to fruition. It's going to be a long time in any case. So with that, I will support the recommendation, and I think Councilmember Hugh made a motion. I'm happy to second that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Spies?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So in short, I support this. I myself would one day like to see a performing arts center here. We're simply not there yet. And the reality is that this is really a substitution for a site that really doesn't work well for a number of reasons, one of them being parking. When I first looked at it, I said, yeah, but it's central, right? Much like one of the callers mentioned. But the reality is that entrance, exit, parking, it's not a great location. And I think this proposed location works much better. So ready to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Nguyen?
Thank you, ma'am. I'll keep it short. I have two little girls, a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, and we've gone to that library before, and we love libraries. I still read off of a book instead of off of a Kindle or any digital device. I still get my newspaper, and I hold my newspaper and read it, not through the phone or the computer like most people do. I enjoy books. My kids have books. They have their own library here at home. My daughters loved going to that library. And as Councilmember Soon said, as we both served on the Library Authority and hearing about this, really excited to see this come to. So I'm in support of this as well too. Thank you.
Thank you. And then just for my comments, this is a great investment. Our existing location, as it's been stated, there are challenges, capacity issue, parking challenges. Quite frankly, we've outgrown it. And I understand one of the caller's frustrations, and when you get attached to certain locations. I went through this decision similarly in my former role as a school board trustee. There were a number of families that were very, very passionate about having a new school, but there were still a number of other families that were very much attached to the pre-existing school. But the reality was that it did not meet the needs of the community. We had outgrown it. So we've outgrown this one over the years. And so I look forward to seeing just a robust new library that can accommodate a lot more users and just the flexibility and the future programs that can come with that. So I'm very excited about it. I love libraries. And one caller mentioned the Performing Arts Center. I've always been a strong proponent for visual and performing arts. We call it VAPA in school speak. And so I will continue to be a champion for that at the right time. But right now we have a great opportunity to move forward and expand our library and build a new library and attract more students and families to benefit from that. So, and I am the newest member of our library authority, so I'm pretty excited to roll up my sleeves and get to work there as well to continue to be a good ambassador for this. So thank you for that. We have a motion and a second already on the floor, so we will turn it over to you, Jason, for roll call.
And for that roll call vote, I will start off with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Soon.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The resolution, with its numerous enumerated actions below it, will pass 5-0 for item 10.3. That'll take us on to item 10.4.
Yep, next item.
And that'll be discussion and direction on residential accessory structures, including accessory dwelling units.
Good evening, members of the City Council. Antonio Ablog, Planning Manager, here to bring to you tonight item related to residential accessory structures, including accessory dwelling units. Tonight, staff is just presenting a report that provides options to address the design and definition of residential accessory structures, including accessory dwelling units. And based on this report, we will ask for direction to staff whether to initiate the process to amend the Elk Grove Municipal Code, specifically the zoning code, and if the council has any other feedback on the proposed options for those code changes. So there will be no code changes this evening. We're just requesting direction based on the options we're providing tonight. As far as background on tonight's item, in January or July of 2020, an accessory structure was constructed that was consistent with the requirements of the municipal code, specifically the zoning code as it relates to accessory structures. The surrounding property owners were concerned that it was not consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood. Based on that feedback, heard from the community, City Council directed staff to investigate amendments to the Elk Grove Municipal Code that would result in development of accessory structures that would better complement the surrounding neighborhood. Furthermore, over the same time, approximately over the past 6 to 8 months, staff has also encountered some shortcomings of our municipal code as it relates to the definition of accessory dwelling units. Currently, the code language has created some ambiguities about the difference between an accessory structure and an ADU, where an accessory structure is meant to be secondary to the main unit, not for living purposes, but maybe for storage or maybe a home office. But we feel it's important to distinguish between a true accessory unit, accessory structure, and an accessory dwelling unit used for living, because there are development standards and also a different set of impacts based on the definition difference between just an accessory structure and an actual dwelling unit. As far as the current accessory structure standards, the main standards that we are looking at, one is the accessory structure size. You can see the exhibit before you. It shows a kind of standard residential lot. Currently, our code allows up to a 30% coverage of that rear yard. So I have some kind of numbers for a standard lot, maybe a little bit larger than a standard lot, but for a 6,300 square foot lot, those standards translate into 570 square foot maximum accessory structure. You could see that laid out on the exhibit there. Kind of the smaller square filled in red. That's kind of your typical shed, storage shed, 120 square feet. And then the larger box rectangle depicts a 36 by 16 accessory structure that does comply with the 30% coverage requirement. That translates into about 570 square feet. And that would be a typical lot in our RD5 zone, which is our typical residential zone. But if you look at some of our other zones, or maybe larger corner lots or pie-shaped lots, many of those can be 9,000 square feet or larger. How that translates to the 30% coverage, that gets into accessory structures where you're looking at 900 square feet or possibly larger. I mentioned the 16-foot maximum height for accessory structures. In the top exhibit, you can see how that relates to a 2-story house. The accessory structure depicted here would be if somebody were to build an accessory garage. This shows a 16-foot height with a standard garage, about 9 or 10 feet. If somebody were to build a garage for, say, storage of an RV, which our code does have a preference to store RVs out of sight. So if somebody were to build one for that, this size of accessory structure could possibly accommodate that. The garage door would be a little bit taller, maybe in the 12 to 13 foot range, but that could fit within a structure that you see here. As far as accessory structure design, our code does not impose any design standards for materials. You can see in the bottom images, though our code doesn't prohibit them, You can see a metal shed structure. If it were to be built the size that's allowed by our code, that would be permissible, even though those materials would generally be incompatible with a residential structure. On the right, you see more of a standard prefabricated shed with some wood siding. We'd consider that to be compatible, though our code doesn't differentiate between those two materials. So the options we've laid out in the staff report for recommendation, one is for accessory structure size. Right now, staff is recommending a maximum residential accessory structure size of 800 square feet or maximum 30% coverage, whichever is less. We still propose to maintain that 16-foot maximum height just because, again, if you wanted to store an RV, you'd need that height to create a structure to store that. And as far as the 800 square feet, we derive that by looking at what some of our neighbors in the region do, and also looking at things like garages. A standard 3-car garage, if you look at the size of that, that's between 600 650 square feet. So we thought 800 square feet would be fair size, but of course, if you have a smaller lot, you'd still be held to the 30% coverage standard. As far as accessory structure design, staff is considering a requirement that those accessory structures greater than 120 square feet be finished with colors and materials that match the main structure on the site. We're not using match in the sense that they have to be exactly the same. We're looking at it similar to how our general plan looks at similar as like and compatible versus exactly the same. And also staff's considering a requirement that longer walls greater than 15 feet in length must include windows, doors, or other architectural features that break up those walls. And as far as approval process, right now our code doesn't really lay out a good process if you, for some reason or other, need to deviate from those standards, whether it's height or size. Staff is proposing that if you want to exceed the standards that we're proposing, you would have to go through a minor design review process. That is a public hearing process with the zoning administrator that would be subject to a public notice. Again, with these code amendment staffs looking not to make it difficult to do an accessory structure, but once you get to a certain size that could potentially impact your neighbors, that you're going to have to consider some design features and maximum sizes. And right now, staff is really only looking to apply these to the residential, main residential districts, RD, like the RD1 and above, not necessarily any of the agricultural residential districts, because we know those many of those properties have larger accessory structures just because of the nature of some of the agricultural residential uses. So we wouldn't apply these standards to those. As far as the accessory structure versus accessory dwelling unit differentiation, staff is looking to revise the definition of accessory building to clearly state that those buildings and structures shall not contain permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, or sanitation. We'd clearly state that accessory structures can have a kitchenette, but not a full kitchen. And we'd clarify that kitchenettes may not have a stove, oven, or any gas-fueled appliance. Again, this is because accessory structures versus accessory dwelling units have different standards and different impact fees. And we want to make sure we want to treat those structures according to their ultimate use. And again, just before you, just showing the image of showing the scale of height of a 16-foot accessory structure and how those accessory structures would look on a standard lot layout. If the council does provide direction to staff to amend the zoning code, we take this forward to the Planning Commission for their review. It would be open to public review, and we would return to the City Council in the future. It would possibly be bundled with other zoning code amendments, as we often do, bundle those from time to time, so that we're not just taking one amendment. But from there, I'd be happy to entertain any questions or recommendations for other standards that staff can look into. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Let's see. So I will now go ahead and open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we have no comments that were received prior to the meeting on this item and no callers requesting to call in under item 10.4. That'll conclude public comment for 10.4.
Thank you, sir. So I will now close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council to provide direction, and we'll start with Councilmember Hume.
Actually, Madam Mayor, if I could start this one off.
Sure.
I asked for this to come to council. This was started from well, I mean, it wasn't intentional, of course, but it was one of those ones that seemed to have slipped through the cracks. One of the residents in my district received a permit to build an accessory structure that was a pretty big eyesore to the rest of the community. And so thank you, Antonio, for looking into this and bringing this back. I think it meets the mark in terms of balancing our efforts to try to ensure that, you know, things like RVs are enclosed, but also if you're going to do something that's pretty substantial, that there's a little bit more review put on it and a little more transparency to the surrounding community. So thank you for that, and I appreciate my council colleagues agreeing to bring this back to look at. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Councilmember Hume.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question, Antonio. With respect to the definitions section, and you say the accessory buildings will not contain provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. And then it goes on to say that they may have a kitchenette, but not a full kitchen. Can the accessory building have a restroom facility? Wouldn't that fall under sanitation?
Yes, it could. We'd generally we'd look at all those items together because all those combine to form a living unit. Say something like a changing room for a pool; those would have a restroom.
Right.
And looking at one of those themselves, as you know, in absence of a kitchen, it would be fine. But once you have a kitchen or kitchenette, then we start looking at whether it would be an accessory dwelling unit just versus an accessory structure.
Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Councilmember Spieth.
Yeah, so Antonio, I found part of my answer in the staff report, but so it's 30% maximum coverage of the rear yard, right? My question is then, is that the entire yard, or if they have a large patio on the backside, does that reduce the rear yard? Right? I mean, they could, in essence, make a large structure with a huge concrete pad out back.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's written, it goes off our zoning code's definition of what the actual rear yard is. The code definition of actual rear yard is the distance from the property line to the face of the structure. So I
to the face of the primary structure, you're saying?
Yes, the face of the primary structure. So if it was, you know, a deck patio that could possibly be excluded, I guess we do have some of the newer construction homes where it's a covered patio, but it's an extension of the same roof line. I guess that would be, we'd have to figure out how to address that situation and when we do these code amendments, but I'm sure we could figure out how to not ding somebody for something like that.
Right, sure. Yeah, I mean, and I'm okay with this mostly, but that I have some questions about, and so maybe if we could just clarify that one more break.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
I have no question. I'm glad we're discussing this. I remember this coming up and we couldn't figure out how this slipped through. And so I'm glad this is being brought up. Thank you, Mr. Blog.
Yeah, thank you to Councilmember Soon for providing context for the sort of the historical perspective how this came to be. So thank you. I have no further questions.
So staff, do we need to provide further direction to staff? Or do I need to make a motion?
There's not a motion.
Yeah.
Aaron Wilson, Development Services Director. We have enough to bring this item back to Planning Commission as well as the council. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. All right, we'll move on to the next item then.
The next item will be item 10.5 to consider adoption of a resolution establishing a city council member censure policy and procedure.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council members, John Hobbs, your city attorney. This is a return from last year. In August of last year, the council directed staff to prepare a policy and a procedure for censure of council members. That's what this item is. I'll briefly just go over the components of it and happy to address any questions or concerns the council may have. Essentially, 2 council members, if they would like to initiate a censure process of another council member, can do so by submitting a complaint to the clerk. The clerk would then set the matter for an initial meeting with the city council. The city council can then take action to either proceed with the censure, including the possibility of a further investigation, or terminate the proceedings. If there's an investigation and it comes back, the city council then can take final action to either terminate the censure, decline to issue the censure, or issue the censure. The decision of the city council would be final as concerns the city. There would not be a further administrative review or appeal. Majority of the city council could always reconsider its decisions, but other than that, the decision would be final. The policy is presented for your consideration. If it meets with what the council is looking for, there's a resolution for your consideration. You can move that and approve it by majority vote of the council. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs. I will now open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, for item 10.5, I didn't receive any comments prior to the meeting, and I have no callers signed up, so that'll conclude the public comment for item 10.5.
Thank you, and I will now close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council deliberations and direction. We'll start with, I don't know if we need to go around robin. If you just feel free to unmute and chime in.
I have a question of City Attorney Hobbs, if I may. This is Councilmember Hume.
Yes, sir.
John, I saw in the staff report where it calls out the formation of an ad hoc committee made up of 2 council members, but then I couldn't find that in the resolution itself or the policy document itself. What would be the composition and purpose of that ad hoc committee?
Sure. Thank you for asking that. So the ad hoc committee, it's on page 5 of the staff report, which is actually page 2 of the policy, which is attached as Exhibit A. But if you look at big number 5 in the right bottom corner, it addresses
under
that.
Section 3, investigation of censure requests. I just saw it right there.
Right before that, 2 paragraphs above that, and I'll go over it and address your question, Councilmember Hume. So what the ad hoc committee would do, if the city council decides that an investigation is appropriate into the allegations at your first meeting, then you can form an ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee would be 2 council members, and it could not be the council member who would be the subject of the censure. The ad hoc committee could then investigate the matter, employing consultants and seeking the assistance of staff if found to be necessary. And then once that investigation is completed, you come back to the city council, report the findings, and make the determinations there. So that would be the point of the ad hoc committee if the council chose to go down that path.
And that would only take place if the council voted, I think it's item D, on consideration of the censure request.
That is correct. It would only be if the council decided to go down that path. It was
Okay,
not,
so
it's not mandatory.
Okay. All right. That's what I was wondering. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hume. Councilmember Soon.
I don't have any questions. I'm okay with it Thank you.
Councilmember Spies?
Right, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Nguyen?
Mr. Hobbs, we don't have one in place, right? If I recall in the previous meetings we had when this came up, it was because we don't have a policy in place.
That is correct. There is no current policy in place.
And this policy is something that is similar to other jurisdictions as well, too?
It is similar to other jurisdictions. Most specifically, Stockton has a policy that's similar to this. This is somewhat simplified from theirs, but yeah, this is not an uncommon approach.
Okay, sounds good. I don't have any other questions. I make a motion.
And I don't have any questions or just a couple of comments. I think it's good to have such a policy, not only for current council, but future councils that come after us. It's good to have these measures in place so that, well, you have them if needed. So with that, I will entertain a motion.
I believe, yeah, Vice Mayor motioned, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
And I'll continue with that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes.
The resolution of item 10.5 will pass 5-0.
All right, we will move on to the next item.
And that item is 10.6, which is to receive updates on current appointments and recruitment schedules and review the appointment of the City of Elk Grove's member representative to the Sacramento Environmental Commission. Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, I am Jason Lindgren, your city clerk. This is a kind of mostly an update item, but it's also to touch base on that one member representative to the Sacramento Environmental Commission for the update on our current recruitment efforts. From December of 2020, he asked me to go out to all of our standing appointees to city boards and ask them with their continued interest to serve. When I did that outreach, there were two members that decided to step down, one from the Diversity and Inclusion Commission, Scott Matsumoto, who we recognize this evening. And then there was a member of the Historic Preservation Committee. Actually, he has his resignation scheduled to be effective on February 1st, but that was Mr. Tarnaski from the Historic Preservation Commission. Those two recruitments are currently open. I also asked for that authorization to open recruitments if there were any vacancies that were created. And those appointment considerations are being scheduled for February 24th, our regular meeting of February 24th. In addition to that, council had also asked that we open up the for applications for the Planning Commission, and that recruitment effort still continues to go. It was scheduled for February 10th, but as we looked at the schedule for the California North State University Hospital project, that is one that moved to a Planning Commission meeting on February 18th. And so staff is asking that we move back and have the appointment consideration for Planning Commission seats to occur after that hearing is held or any other hearings are held for the CNU project. So that would push back the consideration of the Planning Commission appointments also to February 24th. Part of what was in the staff report is I would intend to still hold to the deadlines for applications. We would just be pending when we can make that transition. If there were any instances that occurred in the future, we'd come back probably on consent if we had to push any of these appointment considerations back further. But we'd keep the council apprised of those situations as they come up. The real meat of this item is that Elk Grove member representative to the Sacramento Environmental Commission. As part of the outreach, I also reached out to our representative, who's Eric Rivero Montes. He's served on the Sacramento Environmental Commission since Elk Grove's had a seat back in 2015. So he's served 2 3-year terms. There are no term limits for the Sacramento Environmental Commission. They are 3-year terms. Mr. Rivero Montes did respond in the affirmative that he does wish to continue to serve for another 3-year term on the SEC. And if he has that opportunity, he would continue to serve. What I'm asking tonight is that if the council wants to affirm Mr. Rivero Montes to continue, you can give me that direction, and that's enough for us to go, and I can continue his service. But with the pending time of when his term is going to come up, it's March 10th, I believe, or March 11th. If you wanted to open it up for a recruitment, we can open up a recruitment and start that process. I'd invite Mr. Rivero Montes to submit an application as well, and then we could go from there with an appointment consideration that would be in our first meeting in March. So with that, that's the update. And then what I'd really be looking for is any direction that you have on the Sacramento Environmental Commission status of our representative.
I'll just make the motion to reappoint Mr. Montez.
And just procedurally, Mayor, we don't have any comments that came in prior on this item, and I don't have anyone signed up to speak on the item.
Thank you for that. Getting late already. Okay, so I will go ahead and close the public comment opportunity and council deliberations. I'll making the motion to reappoint Mr. Montez.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
And I'll go with that roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Yes.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
I will let Mr. Rivera Montez know that he's going to continue to serve for another 3-year term for the city of Elk Grove.
Thank you. And before we adjourn, I just wanted to make some comments here. Elk Grove's first mayor and our current assembly member, Jim Cooper, his mother, Helen Marie Cooper, passed away a few days ago. And I would like to adjourn in her memory and just say that may her memory be a blessing to her family and her friends. So tonight we adjourn in her honor, in her memory.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Be safe.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Meeting is now adjourned at 9:35.